This is a special presentation of the Sim Racing Channel. Real racing, virtually.
All right, everybody, we are here for Turn Down for What's Next Gen Series, playoff race number 3, final race before we go to the championship, and it is at treacherous Talladega for playoff drivers. This is a must-win or most points you can get possible tonight to be able to get into that playoff race at the end of the season. We'll be taking a 2-week break here before we come back and do the final championship race. So tonight's race is definitely important for those 10 drivers. Really just 8. 2 drivers are locked in already. As I bring up the points now, you'll see that Nate Lehman, with his win last week after being almost dead last in the points before the start of that race, jumps up to second, locked in. Kyle Taub, with his win earlier in the playoff races here, got locked in as well. So we have 2 open spots for tonight's playoff drivers to go into that championship race. Right now, Pacey Wygant and Jose Ruiz are sitting with 5 and 4 points above the cut line. Byron Jones sitting 4 points down from the cut line. Tyler Dohar, 5 points. Makes up some good points last week with a miraculous turnaround after getting sideswiped from a driver and went all the way to the back of the field, came all the way back up to the front, and I believe finished in the top 6 last week. Hunter Peach with his second place in the first stage, first place in the second stage, and then a great finish by him as well in second place. He jumps from dead last in the playoff points up to contending only 6 points back from that cutoff line. Zach Meredith, Super Speedway guru, now that J-Paw's not here, he has been the guy that has been always been right at the front or not winning these Super Speedway races for CDR or CCR, and so he's a huge shot tonight. Ryan McCall, Chris Murphy all have shots tonight, or a non-playoff driver could have a shot here and spoil somebody's night of locking themselves in, and they will have to count on the points. Shad is in the booth with me, as always, for tonight. Shad, who, out of the field that is left for the playoff drivers to be locked in, do you think has the most advantage going into a Talladega race as treacherous as it is?
I honestly don't know if any of these guys have an advantage. I mean, maybe some of the guys that, their teammates already locked in because their teammates can literally just push them and not have to worry about it. But, a lot of these guys, like Chris Murphy, Ryan McCall, who are at the bottom of the table right now, that, they pretty much are in a position where they have to win to get in. But then we are guaranteed that a minimum of one guy is going to make it in on points alone tonight. But I mean, it could be if we have a repeat winner, it's going to be 2 guys that make it in on points, but for sure, one guy is making it in on points tonight. So it's kind of like one of those deals where you got some guys that are going to be point racing. Some guys are going to be going all out thinking they're going to have the win. And it could actually end up biting you if you are point racing, if one of those guys in the bottom wins tonight, and now that advantage you had is now gone because he jumped you. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fast, and I hope we can have some good, clean racing tonight because Talladega is definitely wide enough. We can have easily 3 wide racing.
Well, before we go into the national anthem here, I still didn't really get a pick from you, so I'm going to go with who would you pick as your hot spot driver that you think can pull off a win tonight?
I'm going to pick a guy that has ran good, hasn't had the greatest luck this season. His teammate of mine. I'm going to pick 21 of Chris Murphy. I'd really like to see him get a win and get locked into the championship 4.
That's not a bad pick at all. I think Chris has a huge shot tonight. So, obviously, being part of my team, I think he would be a great driver to throw in there as well. But we'll go to the national anthem, Shad, come right back, and we'll get the starting grid. All right, everybody, we are back here for Turn Down for What's Talladega race, final race before we go into the championship race tonight. Just want to talk about a few different things here real quick. Big shout out to Bill Hills out there. No one fights alone, Bill. We know you're going through a little bit of a tough time with getting the news of the cancer. So we just want to let you know that you're out there in our thoughts and prayers. You were a racer here. You were a racer on the console side. We always preach family over here, or try to at least. I know we fight like brothers and sisters over here, but everybody has respect for you, Bill, and we definitely want to let you know that you're in our thoughts and prayers. And then the other one, obviously, is still on the screen for this whole month. Christine's Warriors got that ribbon on screen. Got the little graphic that'll come up here in just a second. Nope, not that one. There you go. Survivor Spotlight. It is on breast cancer for the month of October. So we have the spotlight on Christine Brundage up there as the graphic. She was able to get through her cancer, and she is still continuing to fight and stay strong. Definitely want to let her know that our thoughts and prayers are out there for her as well, or anybody's mother, sister, aunt, grandmother, wife, daughter, whoever it is that's in your family. Everybody. Save the tatas is what we always say. So that's what we're kind of doing tonight is the pink, and that's why all the playoff drivers will be highlighted in pink on your screen in the tower, and the ticker going across the top of the screen as well. Next week, or next month, when we come back here in 2 weeks, will be Military Appreciation. I was just telling Shad that we're trying to make sure that all the drivers next month give a little appreciation to those military members that go out there and fight for us every single day, to have this freedom to get on iRacing and do broadcasting and race and have fun and live the lives that we want to live. Whether everybody agrees or disagrees with each other, we still have that right because of those people. So everybody will be coming out hopefully with those military paint schemes. We'll have some different colors up on the screen for the ticker and tower. The playoff drivers that are still eligible for the championship also will be changed for that month as well. But Shad, obviously, we've got a boatload of military members in our family, starting with our dad and then our grandfather. We've got aunts, uncles. I mean, there's so many people. Our brother-in-law right now is serving in the Army. He's over in Korea. I mean, there's so many people in our family to be thankful for and appreciate that great service. And obviously, the guy who's usually always in the booth with us, Pete, served in the Navy or the Air Force, sorry. And we always are super thankful for him as well. And a lot of people didn't make it out of there, and a lot of people came home with issues. And there's always people out there who are willing to talk to him or help him, and we do our part here. So, Shad, looking at the graphics as they're getting ready to come up here on screen, we're going to be looking at the starting grid. And it looks like, as my grid comes up on screen, or it's not going to come up for some reason.
So hard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with something wrong with SDK. It's not working.
Nice.
Yeah. Perfect timing for that. But, yeah, it is going to be Tyler Dohar on that front row with Jose Ruiz on the outside. John Osborne starting third. Elridge George fourth. Christopher Murphy fifth. Nate Lehman sixth. Zachary Meredith seventh. Michael Allen in that 88 breast cancer awareness for Christine's Warriors there. He's going to be starting out in eighth. Michael York returning, going to be ninth. Pacey Wygen, who you just picked, Shad, or just was talking about earlier, he's going to be starting 10th. Enrique Quiona's back in the field as well. He's made his return as he's been kind of gone for about 6 or 7 weeks. Cal Taub back with his locked-in position in 12th. Ryan McCall 13th. Jeff Ludnam, our good buddy Mike Honcho, going to be starting 14th. Hunter Peach, so close to his win last week, going to be starting 15th. Byron Jones in that too has been so close all season, and he is going to be starting 16th. Mike Campbell, the third Papa Bear's son, we saw him very fast in practice, Chad. He's going to be starting at 17th. Jeff Jones going to be 18th. Joshua Roberts 19th. Gary Huffins, who was the fastest in practice, did not have a good qualifying time or did not qualify, and actually is going to start 20th.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise, Dohar up there up front, but this track is just who can hold the prettiest wheel going around on that lap one. A lot of guys, some people learn that Denny Hamlin on that first lap, getting up to speed, he would run right up against the wall, try to get as much speed as he could build without having to turn the wheel too much. And I think that's what Dohar probably did. That's what a lot of guys do now, that first lap, getting up to speed. They ride the wall and then, come across the start-finish line, cut it down. So looks like Dohar out of the group was able to hold the prettiest wheels, going to have the clean track right off the bat. And some of these guys, that are going to be in the hunt to try to make it into those final two spots, they're starting towards the back, but that's probably, the viewers and everybody pretty much knows starting the back at places like Daytona, Talladega, it doesn't make really much of a difference other than the fact that if the wreck happens, you got to drive through it. So, yeah, it should be definitely exciting. Yeah.
You can drive through it, as Harry Hogg would let us know. But, yeah, we're coming down through the backstretch. I got told to refresh the paints. There was an issue with, I guess, the banner that was going across the windshields, but I didn't notice anything on screen. But, yeah, Dohar being up front, that's not a huge surprise. I am kind of surprised that Meredith or Mike Allen, Mike Campbell III, Byron Jones, none of those guys really came up to the front, or even Enrique. He's got his first Talladega win earlier, or Super Speedway win early in the season for the truck series, and I kind of thought maybe he would be up there. He's always a perennial top 5 runner, so kind of surprised there. But I don't know who I'm going to pick, Shad. I'm kind of floating here. I know you picked Chris Murphy, which I think is actually a good pick. I think Chris has nothing to lose but to go for it. So I don't know what his strategy is going to be, but I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to go with Byron. I'm going to say he's finally going to clinch it tonight before we go to the championship race. Maybe that'll give him some good luck.
They, you know, a string of second places. Why not finally get up there and get that W?
Yeah, I think he's so close to getting it. I think he can definitely get it tonight. I mean, it's a track that anybody could win on, so we'll see. But there is the green flag as they went into the restart box. That flag man just swinging that thing, ready to go here as we go into turn 1. Dohar leading him down on the bottom. The 45 of Jose Ruiz to his outside, trying to get through the gears, get up to speed. Chad, with these next-gen cars, it takes a little bit for them to get up to speed. But even then, I feel like it is not anywhere near the speeds that we used to be able to run in the Gen 6s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you went from, you know, the Gen 6. I don't know. These are Gen 6, so Gen 5s, right? Or no?
No,
These are
Gen 6.
Yeah,
These
whatever.
are next-gen shit.
Yeah, okay. So the Gen 6s, you know, they were cruising around here in the pack, you know, over 200 miles an hour, and now these cars, even in the pack, you get in the 190s, but that's about it. By yourself, you're barely hanging on to 180 mile an hour. So these cars are big, bulky, slower, and I have to say, from driving them on here and watching the racing in real life, I feel like NASCAR absolutely hit a donut with these cars and really struck out. And me personally, I'd rather have the Gen 6s back because these cars are just nice, absolute trash. And that number being up towards the front, I think is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in NASCAR. I mean, I couldn't imagine seeing that Dale Earnhardt, you know, Goodwrench car with that 3 being that close to the wheel. I think it would just look stupid. So I don't know.
Well, you can still see it because it's on the side of Austin Dillon's car. They have not fixed that 3, even though Junior did ask them to. But they still have that 3. I know what you mean, though. It's not, you know, the black Goodwrench coming around the corner. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I don't like the number moved either, but it's more than just the speed and the way the cars drive and the tire low profile and the way the cars are cambered and things like that. It's the safety in these cars. The Gen 6s, I mean, we've seen Austin Dillon go up in the air, go through the catch fence, and that car was shredded. We've seen Ryan Newman get flipped and then T-boned right on the door frame upside down, and they both walked away and, you know, didn't even have – well, I mean, Ryan Newman walked away the next day. But,
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at Kurt Busch, career over. You look at Alex Bowman, barely even brushed a wall and he's out, 6 races now or 4 races now, knocked out of the playoffs because of it. So I don't know. I've said it from the beginning. This car is a flying brick, and when it hits something, there is no bend, there is no flex to it. It is just a straight big chunk of metal hitting a wall. And the guys are winding up with concussions, and it's even worse when they back into the wall, it seems. So, but yeah, I'm a big pusher of a different car as well. I know they're probably going to wait a little while, but back on track though, we're looking at this as Nate Lehman has taken the lead with Pacey right behind him. The 45 Jose Ruiz trying to run that bottom line. But, Chad, we've seen the top line try to come in with these next-gen cars, but you need some help. And Pacey is pushing that 14, who did win last week's race, to lock himself into the playoffs. Pacey, a playoff driver himself, barely on the cut line with Byron Jones and a couple others there with Tyler Dohar and Jose Ruiz and Zach Meredith. They're all fighting for the same 2 positions, but only 2 of them are going to get in there. But I'm looking at that 88 beautiful paint scheme that you painted, Chad, sitting up here on the bottom row, 4th back from the front. Mike Allen jumping all the way up here, and he has moved from only 8th, but I mean, it looks different when he's on the bottom line. But we got another car shifting up the front, and that's Hunter Peach, and that is the Super Speedway Daytona winner, who was really fast last week as well. And Nate Lehman got him for the win. But Hunter going for it. Those 2 drivers both, again, up front to this week, just like they were last week.
Yeah, Hunter's one of those guys that cannot rely on points. He is not safe. He's got to have a solid run or a win. And most likely, if one of those guys in the lower part of the points gets a win, Peach may possibly find himself out if he does not collect enough stage points and has a solid finish. So Being a little aggressive, trying to get to the front, get that lap leg, get that bonus point at least out of the way. But yeah, I feel kind of dumb. I did not pick that 88, that beautiful paint scheme that I painted myself. Um, yeah, I kind of feel bad that I didn't pick him. I would love to see Mike Allen get a win. I know he's good at super speedways. Just sometimes he gets caught up in somebody else's mess. So,
He did finish
yeah,
second in a super speedway race last night for a different league, so he's
yeah,
been
and the
racing super
trucks.
speedways.
Yeah, I did notice a few guys drop back. I seen the 21 Chris Murphy pulled off on the backstretch, went to the back. I guess maybe he's waiting to see how the field is racy tonight, and then maybe try to make a charge back up because he's one of those guys that he needs every kind of point or the win. So, um, yeah, and a few others look like Dohar kind of slipped back a little bit too. But yeah, up front, that 45 of Jose Ruiz, he's still hanging on strong. I think he started what P3, so he's still hanging up there. And yeah, Pacey moved his way up. So some good racing right now, pretty clean for the most part. I haven't really seen any cars get too loose from a bump or anything like that. So I'm glad these guys are realizing there's a long way to go, and it's kind of too early to be making dumb moves.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was kind of hoping that these guys would, kind of take it easy. But the stages, I mean, we kind of changed everything up a couple weeks ago with adding in the fuel. With 100% fuel shed, you might not have to pit nearly as much as you thought you were going to have with the 70% fuel range that we had originally for this. But, I mean, with everything going on, what would you do? Would you stay out? Would you risk it? I mean, it's super speedway. Tires are really not that big of a concern most of the time. Fuel's really the only thing I would be concerned with. I probably wouldn't take tires unless it was a legitimate caution and I needed fuel to come down anyways. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I talked to some of the drivers. They're saying the fuel window's 32 to 35. Obviously, if you're going to be in the draft, one of those cars towards the back of the pack, you're going to be able to save a heck of a lot more fuel than those cars closer to the front or the leader of the pack. So, if I can make the stage, I'm pitting at the end of every stage, and then if there's going to be a pit stop during that final stage, I'm coming down. I'm topping off fuel only, and that's it. Because yeah, tires, your car feels a little bit looser when you don't take tires and you ran 50 laps on them. But I mean, the handling's still pretty much the same. It's just when you have to make a sudden jerk to try to avoid something, that's when the car wants to get a little twitchy, and also maybe a little bit if somebody's on your bumper pushing. But for the most part, I mean, what I do that 6-hour race here in these cars, and yeah, the car felt fine pretty much the entire time. So, yeah, should be pretty good. But I don't know if you noticed, Kurt, there's 3 cars that have lost the pack. Now, they are together, but I've been looking at their lap times, and they're running over almost a half second to about 7/10 slower. And at this pace, there's a chance they could get caught.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they'll get caught. We only have 30 laps in the first stage, 30 laps in the second stage, 60 laps in the third and final stage. And we're already 10 laps into this. In 20 laps, I don't know if they will get caught. But those drivers right there is Nate Lehman, Mike York, and Joshua Roberts. I think that was kind of part of the plan. I can't say that I think that Mike York's not pulling off a strategy that he and I used back for the iRacing Super Speedway race in NNR, where we hung in the back by about 8 seconds most of the race, but we did have about 6 cars back there where we could make pace and stay even with those front pack that we dropped off from, and then just stayed exactly right there and waited for every single caution, every single thing to happen. Mike York, he's not in the playoffs. Nate Lehman already locked in. Joshua Roberts not in the playoffs. So these guys don't have to worry about stage points. They don't have to worry about getting up here to the front. They can hang in the back, wait for the stages to come around, not drop off immediately from the start of the stages, but, maybe 5-6 laps in, start working your way towards the back. By lap 10, be a few seconds back, and then you won't get lapped.
Yeah, It's funny, I'm sitting here watching these guys, and it's almost like it's real life. A top line train is starting to form there for a little bit now. Somebody went 3 wide. It looks like the 5 of Hunter Peach. It was funny though. It was looking like we were gonna have a top lane train going around here, like we still see in real life. But I noticed a couple things. One in the 78 of Dohar back up to second place. The 2 of Byron Jones already worked his way up to third. Now he's losing a couple spots, or no, he's still third. The 21 of my pick, Chris Murphy, was back up to fourth place. Now losing a few as he got shuffled out.
Byron's gonna have to get down.
Yeah, he better get in front of that 21. Oh no, Pacey's gonna. Oh, Pacey's making it
gonna
4 wide.
Byron getting shuffled out. That's who he's battling, though.
That is true. There's no teammates, and I made the playoffs and you didn't.
No.
So, yeah, it's. But as you see, they're both falling back. The middle lane is the sucker hole, as a lot of the announcers call it. So, yeah, it just goes to show you how quickly you can go from last place to first place around here. You just have to make those moves when you get the runs, Kurt.
Yeah, I think Byron, as soon as he moved down, he should have dove it all the way to the bottom line. That could have helped him a little bit, and I would have glued myself to that yellow line and made that bottom line either push me or go around
going
me.
through the grass. The 40 car going through the front stretch grass. Saved it.
I think that's Elrich George in the 40 car. He's got that kind of Red Bull paint scheme there going on. So, yeah, he's going to wind up dropping back, but that could help the 3 cars back here. That gives him a 4th driver to draft with, so that could definitely help that group, Chad.
Oh, for sure. It's just one of those things. They're going to catch him with so much speed. Will they let off enough for him to get in line with them? Or
I think you have to.
Yeah, four cars, I feel like they could catch the pack, especially with them running 2 wide.
3 wide.
Right now.
We're 3 wide every row wide at the front here. 4 rows deep, and we are 3 by 3 by 3 by 3.
Yeah, this is what I was saying at the beginning. You know, Talladega, wide track, wider than Daytona. Very easily 3 lanes around here, and it shouldn't even be close to touching.
If you look, Chad, more cars just separated themselves from this front pack. Jeff Luddenham just bailed out of there as well. John Osborne bailed out of there. They're all going to fall back. Jeff Jones fell out. They're all going to fall back to that group of 3. So that's going to put 6 cars together if they can all link up. I think they all saw the 3 wide racing going on for the first 6 rows at the front and was like, nope, not being a part of this.
Yeah, some of these guys, you know, they don't feel comfortable with 3 wide around here unless it's 3 wide on the last lap. So maybe they're thinking, you know, hey, I don't need stage points. I can just go for the win. And that's what I'm going to try to do. But my opinion on this is, if you're going to race 3 wide at the end of the race, why not run it at the beginning of the race? Because
get used to it.
You need to practice. Yeah, you need to practice. You need to know how to drive these cars when it's 3, possibly 4 wide. So some of these guys that, hey, it's lap 2. Why are we going 3 wide? This track is so wide, it's easy to run that. 4 wide, yeah, I'd be questioning that, but 3 wide around here I think is great racing, and I'm glad to see that 88 paint scheme of mine, driven by Mike Allen up there on the bottom row, leading it. Got a little loose. I thought Kyle Todd gave him a little bit of a bump there going into turn 3, so but able to hang on to it.
4 teammates up here battling. 4 guys in the same exact chat you thought would have maybe tried to pull away from the pack there, because Dohar was giving one hell of a shove to Jose Ruiz. Those 2 know each other very, very well from the console days. And then they had Pacey and Byron come up behind them, and Pacey and Byron bailed on him, went underneath him, and Mike Allen just shot the middle between Pacey and the 78 and took the lead on the bottom, Chad.
Oh, and he just got
turned.
And heavy damage.
And it's going to be off track,
man.
so that is going to mean that he is not going to bring out the yellow. Only way that yellow comes out is if he stops on track.
Yeah, that car is totaled.
Yeah, it's got stuff flapping around on it.
Suspension damage. The whole left side is just tore up.
Yeah, he's going to park it and take it to pit road and use that. But, yeah, Shad, that's our first casualty of that Mike Allen was doing so well, moved up to the front, just got clipped there, and got sent down through the infield and went right into the infield wall. And Mike's probably not going to be happy. I mean, he was probably expecting this race to go very well for him. He did very, very well last night. Watched his personal POV stream of it, and had some really nice moves at the end of the race to get up to second. And I think he got some money out of that too. So, but looking at this top line, Chad, it's been pretty heavily used. Normally, we always talk about bottom feeders, the Talladega, Daytona, those type of tracks where that bottom line is king. But the top line, to me, has always been the better line. It's been easier to move around, things like that. But the top line, you need extra cars with you, and that top line definitely has a good amount of cars to help it get to the front here. And it's being led by Cal Top.
Yeah, the top line, you know, you lose a little bit going through the center of these turns, but then you gain it. You get such a run coming off these turns. The only problem is if you do not have help up there, you don't have a decent pusher, the bottom, being the shorter way around, can make up time on you. And if they're pushing really good, you know, they will eventually get in front of you. But right now the tops, you know, working pretty good together. You got those, you know, CCR drivers, or I don't know, CDR, whatever you want to call it. You know, they're pretty much all up there running. But as you see, a little mistake of one of them getting into the wall, and look at that, the bottom line now has surged ahead. So I went back and looked at the replay of what happened to Mike Allen, and it looked like he got a pretty good shove from Pacey. It kind of pushed him up the track, and then Pacey did what you should never do as a pusher. He pushed the left rear of Mike's car, and it just sent him. And unfortunately, wasn't able to correct it, save it, get on the brakes hard enough to, you know, to stay out of the wall. And now his night is done, unfortunately. So
yeah, with no fast repairs, that's a terrible shot to take to the car, to have to sit on pit road. I think he's probably parked, and I don't think we'll see Mike back out here. I'd love to see, you know, some drivers, they'll sit on pit road, they'll get that car fixed. With it only being the second to last race, he's not in the playoffs. He's not going to gain anything by coming back out here with a broke car or a busted car. Even if it's repaired, it probably might not still run as fast as some of these other cars. He might do all right in the draft, though. But, Shad, we're 20 laps into this race. 10 more laps left before we end this first stage. Jose Ruiz and Tyler Dohar have been up towards the front all night so far. Ryan McCall has tagged along with them. They took a big shot on the bottom lane after Kyle Top got into the wall, like you mentioned. Scrubbed the wall just a little bit, which backed up that whole militia group there. And the bottom three, even though they only had 3 cars, they were able to go right back by. But Kyle Top making a big swing down to the bottom lane. Now he's got the rest of the CDR, CCR militia group hauled together on the bottom line. They're going to try to come right back by them using that bottom line. And they've got about 7 cars in that bottom line pack against 3 on the top. I have a feeling that top 3 is going to fall all the way to the back of this line, creating one giant train. Or is anybody else going to jump up there with him? I'm surprised Pacey, Byron, or Mike Campbell III did not try to jump up there and help that top line.
Yeah, I am too, because as you see the front 4 on that bottom line, all teammates. They knew what they were going to do. They knew, hey, we're going to get a run, we're going to dive into the bottom. And they all went, and they dragged that 25 car with them. With 00 Pacey and the 2 of Byron Jones all went with them. Now look at them. They got all 5 of them got in front of that 45 and pulled back up. And now the bottom line only has 3 cars in it, and they're going to be forced to go back to the top. And this is the problem when you do not work with your teammates or the guys that are in your chat. You cannot beat 4 or 5 cars by yourself. You can't beat 4 or 5 cars with 2. If you have 4 or 5 cars in your group, you need to run the same as what they are doing. You have to stick together, or else they will control this race. And that's something that CDR or CCR has always done well. They've had large numbers on their team or in their chat, and they all work well together. So that's something I think some of these guys are figuring out, like, hey, if we want to compete with these guys, we're going to start working together, because I think they found out last week at Indy by not doing it, it didn't pay off in their favor. So hopefully somebody in that chat, maybe Dohar can be the leader of that group and say, hey guys, we have to go work together.
Whew, and they all just shifted down there as they saw Jose Ruiz dive to the bottom line. Hunter Peach was the first to dive down in front of him, cut him off, and slow that momentum that allowed the other three in front of the 5 car to bail down to the bottom, but they bailed on their other teammate, Enrique Quiones, making his reappearance back in a turn down for what in that 25 machine up on the top lane. He does get picked up by Pacey and Byron. You got 3 cars on the top lane. I wouldn't be surprised to see that 45 and 78 coming off this corner, maybe to shift up to the top lane to try to collect those 3 cars on the outside, as we've got cars bailing all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on here. Nate Lehman jumping and bailing on his teammates, picking up that outside line quicker than I thought the rest of them would, and he's going to try to go to the front. Now Jose Ruiz diving between the middle, going to split them 3 wide at the front with 78 of Tyler Dohar splitting the second row 3 wide. He's going to give a big shot to Jose Ruiz's Monster Energy 45 car right there. That's going to stall out the middle and top lane. Kyle Taub going to retake the lead, but Nate Lehman, his teammate, not giving up on that outside line with the 5 and 25, 2 and 11 now pushing. That middle line, like you said, is going to be a sucker hole, and they're probably going to slip back. 78 and 45 are going to have to try to find a spot to slip up into this pack somewhere. If not, they're going to have to try to get behind the 00 of Pacey, who was on that bottom line, following the rest of the CDR militia members down on that bottom side.
Yeah, if you're going to run the middle, you have to side draft. You have to side draft the bottom, and you have to side draft the top. As the 45 got loose, I'm not sure if he thought he was clear or almost made pretty significant contact with that 00, but I think they'll be all right. Didn't look like it was much of a touch at all. So, and as we see, that group of 5 has collected Enrique back up, and they are all back in line. And I don't know. Somebody at halftime, we got to call a timeout or something. Coach, we need you to go down there and tell your drivers that are in your chat that you guys have got to work together, or else you're never going to pass those front 4. Because literally, the guy in 4th can see the run coming and can tell everybody, hey, they're coming high, and he can get up there and block it. But
ooh, they all just bailed on Nate Lehman. That's going
yeah,
to shuffle him all the way to the back. Look how fast he drops from right there in second place on the outside line all the way to the back group now. That's going to shuffle this all up with Kyle Taub back at the front with Zach Meredith. Zach Meredith also needs a win tonight or a very hefty amount of points. He's battling with those 8 points separating from 3rd all the way back to about 6th or 7th in the points. It's very, very crowded in that section, Chad, as I bring up the points one more time real quick, because we've got now 3 laps to go. Points are up now. Kyle Taub locked in. Nate Lehman locked in. Pacey, Jose, Byron, Tyler Dohar, Hunter Peach, Zach Meredith, all within striking distance of getting into those 2 points or 2 playoff spots left over. Ryan McCall and Chris Murphy need most likely a max point tonight with some trouble with the other guys, or just a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we see guys like Murphy, Ryan McCall, not really forcing the issue up there too much. I think Murphy realizes, like, hey, even if I win both stages, that's 10 points. I'm not going to gain that much. I think he's trying to save his car for the end and make sure he's there at the end and having a chance to win it, because that's all it takes for him, a win, and he's into the Final 4. So, but some of these other guys, like Kyle Taub, Nate Lehman, they're already locked in. They can make whatever moves they want as long as they don't wreck their teammates that are trying to get in. That's all that matters for them. So, and then you got some of these guys that aren't even in the playoffs. But what I do want to point out is that 11 car of Mike Campbell III, Papa's son, sitting there riding with this group, has stayed with this group, and is right there for stage points. So. And I know he's not in the playoffs, but how cool would it be for Papa Bear to watch his son get his first league win right here and turn down for what?
Oh, I'm sure Papa would be just as ecstatic as his son would be. I'm sure Papa would come up into the chat. I see him actually in the chat saying this close racing and moves that are being made is making my butthole pucker. Papa up in race control tonight, watching for any cautions or incidents or anything like that. He'll be throwing the flags for the stages. But Shad, we got 29 laps done We've got lap 30 coming around, where we will then end our stage when they come to lap 31. Right now, sitting as they are, who do you look at?
I'm looking at the 14,
Ooh, we got
wrecking with
Wrecker.
the 11. Does the caution come out?
I would think it would.
It looks like
Well, it doesn't look like it's
a
going
race
to,
to the
actually.
line.
Now, they still got one more lap. Caution doesn't come out until the end of lap 30. Yeah, because they spun off track.
Yeah.
iRacing did not throw the caution, and Papa made it clear last week that he does not want to throw cautions unless iRacing throws them, or iRacing is not throwing them and the car is parked on track somewhere. But because they spun off track and went down to that infield just like Mike Allen did, no caution being thrown.
Yeah, I'm looking at that, the 11th car, Mike Kimball third, and it looks good. Like a little crinkle on the front spoiler, maybe a little crease here and there, but for the wheels are straight. There's not too much damage. He should be able to repair that, and the car should still have speed.
Coming to the line, Zach Meredith's
break
going
for
to
him.
go up to the front, Chad. He's going to clinch stage 1. It's going to be Zach Meredith taking it. Byron Jones got second. Kyle Taub looked like he had it. And, I mean, I don't want to say that he maybe backed off a little bit, but it looked like Zach either had one hell of a run on that second lane, or Kyle might have given his teammate the stage win there. Zach needing max points. Byron Jones finishing second. That's a big night for him, Shad. He needs max points as well. He's going to clear Pacey by a few points as well, so that's going to pull him back up into this battle even more. I think he was only a few points off of, I think he was 4 or 5 points back from Pacey and Jose Ruiz in third and fourth, so this just got way tighter. But looking at this, it's going to be the rest of the field. Enrique comes flying back up through there and gets third. Tyler Dohar fourth. Pacey Wygant, or Tyler Dohar fifth. Pacey Wygant sixth. Ryan McCall seventh. Jose Ruiz eighth. Hunter Peach ninth. Jeff Ludnam 10th is going to be our top 10 for this stage, yeah.
Yeah, I think Kyle Taub decided to be a good teammate, because watching his speed and just the way the car sounded like he came out of the throttle a little bit. So I think that was a baby gift. As
well, because we're on
Tyrese would say.
iRacing, I don't think we have a rule against maybe manipulating races or anything, do we? So,
nothing like
I
that
mean,
on
it's a
here,
teammate. You're going to help him out. You're going to do what you got to do. I mean, I'm sure, you know, we all would do something similar. So if he did, it's not a big deal to me. It's iRacing. It's not real life. So I know they've gotten, was it, who's in the 14? Briscoe got in trouble back at Road America, where me and Pete were, for manipulating the race. He slowed down going into the bus stop on the back stretch in the final lap there, and slowed the whole group down, which allowed, or no, that was Cole Custer, sorry, yeah. And Briscoe went by like 4 or 5 cars there to get some more points, and were able to jump up into the finals, or the playoffs, the next round. So not a big deal here, but yeah, Papa says Cole Custer move, question mark. Yeah, I would say that's a Cole Custer move in my book, but we don't have a rule against that on iRacing, so. But yeah, we're going to go and pull Zach Meredith up here to the booth, and we'll talk to him real quick right after this commercial break here. Zach up. All right, we're going to pull Zach Meredith in 17 up to the booth right now as our stage 1 winner. Zach Meredith, you get a copy of this chat or this Swats and chat like up in the booth.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. What's up?
Oh, can you guys hear me? All right, so Zach, you just won stage 1. You were kind of hovering there in the top 10 most of that first stage. Looked pretty fast. You made a move there coming to the finish line. Byron Jones staying behind you. You got to take stage 1. Shad and I kind of recognized something, and even Papa did out in the chat, that maybe that was a Cole Custer move by Kyle Taub. Was there any kind of teammate thing there? It's not a big deal because there is no rule against it. So, but it looked like even in the replay, Kyle might have just squeaked off the gas pedal just a little bit to let you take that stage.
All I know is that me and him were just working together.
All I
Honestly,
know.
That's all I know. Honestly, no. He said if I made a move to get the stage win, to get that extra point, that he wouldn't block me. So that's all he says. He's like, if you make the move on the outside, no matter who's pushing you or whatever, I'm not gonna block you since he's already locked in. So I was like, all right. With that being said, I'll take the risk. If I pop out and I drop, then that's one thing. But if I pop out and Byron follows me, then as long as Byron doesn't pass me, I mean, I get that point. So
I mean,
as many points as
I think it's a
possible
good
right
move.
now.
I think it's a good teammate move. I wish some of the other guys in here, I mean, you guys with CCR and CDR or militia or whatever you guys call each other as a group, you guys all work well together. I mean, Shad pointed out earlier that you guys have won, pretty much every single super speedway besides one, and that's really just a remake Atlanta into a super speedway. But every other super speedway, a member of your team has won because you guys work so well together, and nobody else seems to want to work with each other. So if a teammate, backed off the gas even just a hair to let me get a stage, I would say that's great teammate working the points, and I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, all the guys that that's in our group and whatnot. I mean, CCR, CDR, the militia, whatever you want to call us. I mean, we're just one giant family. We all want to help each other to win and try to win the championship and whatnot. So if it means just not wrecking us, that's all I'll take. So that's all you had to do is just not go up into me on the high side.
Chad, any questions for our stage 1 winner?
Yeah, my question is how aggressive do you stay for this second stage?
I need as many points as possible, and I'm starting second, and I got my biggest rival right next to me. So, so this should be interesting.
Don't go down on his door. So we'll send you back. We'll send you back down to Checkmate Motorspeeds with your teammates.
How about this? Is this close enough?
Yeah, it's close. Stay within the bubble. I'll send you back down to your teammates, and good luck in this next stage.
All right, thank you.
All right, Chad, so you heard him there. There was no actual call from the teammates. I think, in my opinion, I think it's just a respectful move by Kyle. He's already locked in. He's going to help his teammates. I wish, some of the other guys that are teammates or in the same team chats or whatever you want to call it down there, I wish they'd, kind of do the same thing, work together, draft. There's only, what, 4 or 5 of the militia members still in this series. The rest of the field could link up and really, try to tag team against the whole group, but they just don't ever seem to want to. They just always are battling each other, and I really think, even though CCR or CDR or militia, I'm just going to call them militia, continuously are winning these super speedways, part of it, nothing against them skill-wise because they're all really good at super speedways and they work well together, but part of it is also because these guys never team up against them.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's frustrating. Watching a team work well together and another team just sit there and fight it out. I don't understand it. I thought they would learn from last week. They were all saying it after the race, like, we should have worked together, or, why didn't you go with me? And it's like, here we are the next week, and they're doing the same exact thing, and it's just...
Yeah, and this is more of a track where you need teammates.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it to where in real life, you have a problem because there's only 6 of them compared to, the rest of the field getting Chevys or Fords, so... Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson. And maybe start working together, or maybe they're saying it's all out for each other. But no, up front, that was pretty close. Um, Dohar in that 48 of Ryan McCall got a great jump on the 17. But unfortunately here at restrictor plate races, having a great jump is actually a downfall because the rest of the pack catches you and they can actually fly by you as that top lane, which has three of the militia guys right now in a row, followed by that 00 of Pacey Wygant, and then the two of Byron Jones. That Highline's got the groove. It's got more cars in it right now, and that Highline is actually starting to make up pretty good groove as now the top four are both clear of the bottom, as you see the front three now go to the bottom and jump in front of that 78 of Dohar.
Yeah, 17 back out front, doesn't want to relinquish that at all. You know, he needs max points, so one of those points he can gain is by leading the most laps. Hunter Peach has been up here. Cal Taub's been up here leading laps, but Cal's already locked in. Nate Lehman's been up here leading a few laps, but we saw him spinning around there on track. Dohar needs to get up here and lead some laps. Pacey needs to get up here and lead some laps. Byron needs to get up here and lead some laps. There's 10 guys in those pink blocks over there on the left side in that tower or up in the ticker when I have it going across that are all battling in this playoff heat race for the championship race in 2 weeks. Two of the guys are already locked in. That would be the 16 of Taub and the 14 of Nate Lehman. So we have two open spots. If a non-playoff driver wins, we've got two spots where guys are going to have to point their way in. Are you maybe thinking about points, Shad, if you're one of these drivers battling out of the 6 or 7 that are contention for those two spots? Are you worried about points only, or are you maybe one of the guys who are thinking like the 8 and several others were doing, where they were dropping back going, you know what, no, I'm just going to go for the win?
I think it depends on where you are in the standings. I mean, yeah, Meredith, he needs a lot of points, but he's only 8 back of that cutoff line. So it's doable to make it in on points. But, some of the guys like Ryan McCall, Chris Murphy, they're so far back that they can't point their way in pretty much. They would need, a lot of things to happen. And, right now with them not getting any stage points, Murphy's pretty much setting it up for himself to where he's got to make sure he's there at the end and win this race. So, if I'm those guys that are right there on the cut line, yeah, points are huge right now. You definitely want to try to get as many as you can and see if that's how you get into the Final Four, but definitely not rely on it. So, as you see, that 00 and the 2 teammates, or same chat teammates, have worked their way up to the front 2 on that high line and are leading this field around. But something I want to say is, it's not just teammates up there. It's father, son, the 2 and the 77. You got Junior in front of Senior up there. And, a heck of a run by Byron's dad up here right now, sitting in 3rd place.
Shad, we've got a guy out there in the chat saying Cheney Kenneth 35 saying Kyle Taub is that guy. I mean, Kyle, he's locked in. He was the regular season champion with the pointing his way in without a win. Got his first win of the season a couple weeks ago. Tyler Dohart making a big move to the front there, splitting the 4, or actually, sorry, in the middle of the field there, making a split, now going to the bottom and making a big move. Wow, that was close. He just cut the nose off of the 14 there. I don't know if the 14 is going to be kind about that when he gets to those back bumper, but Pacey's out front leading those laps I was talking about, those crucial points. He's up there leading that lap, getting a point. Byron's going to have to get below him or something, but they are working at least together as a team. Shad, we talked about it. There is the group that is within that channel down in my team chat. Pacey, Byron, Jeff Jones, Joshua Roberts, Chris Murphy, Tyler Dohar, Jose Ruiz, all lined up on that outside line and all working together finally.
Yeah, maybe they're listening to the broadcast, but yeah, they got 5 of them linked up with Dohar leading the group on the bottom, and something to point out there with Doar making those moves. That just goes to show anybody that doesn't have iRacing, that hasn't driven these cars, just the amount of run you get in the draft. If you back off by somebody by, 3, 4 car lengths, and then you stay in their draft and gun it, that's the kind of run you get. But as you saw, he made a few passes, went down to the bottom, and then the momentum just stalled out. And, that top 4 is still prevailing as we're 3 wide for 5th on back. And as you see there, the bottom is still continuing to drop. There's just not enough cars down there. Or
Well, they're going to get some help now with Enrique in the 48 possibly squeezing down in there.
48, there was room. Does the 69? No, he doesn't make it. So now, I think Chris Murphy's going to get a good run right here. That 25 is going to jump up. It looks like he's going all the way to the third groove. He's going to try to get that 5 and that 16 to come with him, as now the field is really getting broken up, and you got a few cars sitting in that sucker hole, and they're just hoping that the cars in front of them jump in front of them. That way they can get that draft and not lose too many spots. But
that was a gutsy move by that 25, going from the bottom all the way up to the top. Barely any room from his front bumper and the back bumper of the 69 as he slid all the way to the top line. Gathered up the 5 and the 16 and the 45. Byron probably should have tried to get down in front of the 48 now to try to get back up to the front. There you go. Sorry, that was the 21. I thought it was the 2. Oh, and the 25 bounces off the 69 there. 5 going to squeeze in between them.
Oh, good call. Letting off there, Hunter Peach. That would have been very risky this early in the race.
So now the 21 of Chris Murphy now on that bottom side being followed by Ryan McCall there. He's going to take that bottom line. Pacey going to drop down in front of him. Byron going to be stuck up on the outside line with the 77, his dad right behind him pushing him. Could we have a father-son duo, Shad, that we've seen 100 times here at Talladega before? Could that be possible tonight between Byron Jones and Jeff Jones?
Yeah, does Jeff Jones help his son make it into the Final Four? Does he pull that Dale Earnhardt and say, I'm going to sit back and block the runs and let my son go out there and try to win? That would be awesome if it happened. But, he's right now in the sucker hole and we're kind of losing some ground. But, yeah, this is some great racing. This is what Talladega can provide. 3 wide. Like I said before, 4 wide's a little risky. But
it's getting touchy back there.
Yeah, some guys are – I see a lot of swerving. I wonder if some guys didn't take tires. And, this is what happens when you don't take tires. The car, it kind of drives all right. But when you start getting 3, 4, wide, it gets hard to hold your line because those tires do feel a little slick.
Yeah, and adding the gas to the car, too, makes it heavier on those old slick tires to where it does want to sway back and forth. I think that was a lot of gas-and-go stops. I'm seeing a lot of longer pit stops, though, Shad. I'm kind of surprised by that. It looks like majority of the group was right around that 14-second pit stop. To me, that's 4 tires and fuel. I would have probably not done that. I might have taken 2.
I think for stage breaks, I would take 4. I mean, what are you going to lose even if you drop back
it is
to
a
the
caution
back?
stop.
Yeah, so, it's kind of crazy right now. We got 3 wide, 3 rows deep, and then we got 2 guys out front by themselves trying to block these runs. And so far they're doing a pretty good job of it as, the 5 has reeled them back in. But 21's going to dive to the bottom of his teammate. He's going to go for that lap lead, try to get that bonus point.
Not going to get there.
Unfortunately, it's not going to get there because all the momentum was up high. And now you have him falling back. Top
that middle
4,
line's
top
kind
5
of
will probably clear him.
Kind of stacking up there. He might be able to get back up to the bottom line. They're kind of staggered. It's kind of a weird situation. Well, now they're swinging down to the bottom. Here goes all of CDR again, swinging down and bailing on Pacey. Pacey's going to go to the back line of the pack. And the 5 car back out front with the 16 on his rear end. The 25 trailing him with the 17 who just won stage 1. We're getting closer and closer, Shad. We got 12 laps to go in the stage now. It was a quick second stage here. No cautions so far on the night. We've had a couple wrecks, though. Early in the race, Mike Allen spun down to the inside wall, having some major damage to his car, knocked out of the race. We saw Nate Lehman and the 11 spinning around on track. The 11 wound up losing the draft off that restart, Chad, so I'm wondering if he had a little more damage than we thought he did. 14 able to get back and get going. He's right here in this front pack, sitting right in the top 10 now.
Yeah, I'm listening to his car and looking at the RPMs of the 11, and it looks fine. I don't know what happened to where, the reason why he lost that draft. We'd have to go back and take a look at the restart. But yeah, it's unfortunate for him. He was up there with these guys until that spin by the 14, and now he's in danger of possibly going a lap down here, because what is the stage break? Lap 60?
Yeah, they're going to catch him by lap, or the end of 60. So they've got right around 11, 12 laps to go. They're going to definitely catch him before the end of this
Yeah,
thing.
so right now the leaders are running 50.1s that last time by. The last time by, the 11 ran a 54 flat, so 4 seconds or what they gaining on him. So yeah, they're going to catch him in the next 2.5 laps. So yeah, luckily though, he will be the only car lap down. He'll get it back. So no harm, really, no foul, as long as there's nobody else that goes a lap down here in the next 10 laps. So yeah, some intense racing occurred up front. This is kind of surprise, with the playoffs, Final Four being on the line, the moves that some of these guys that are fighting for those last 2 spots, but it's making a great show for us. Oh, as the 5 gets loose coming out of 2, saves it though.
Yeah, 5 got loose there and went down to the inside line, slid back in line, but able to get back in front of his teammate Zach Meredith. Didn't lose a whole lot of positions there, Chad. He did lose a few, but not as many as I thought he was going to. Third lane trying to get formed up on the outside with Nate Lehman in the 14. Him and Josh Roberts, if they didn't make contact, it was damn near close. But they are starting to try to form the middle and top line to try to get back up here. Mike York has been sitting off this pack with Jose Ruiz and John Osborne. I believe they're in a chat together. They were sitting off, and now they're linked up to the front pack now again. But none of them need stage points besides Jose Ruiz. He can't risk giving up stage points. He's got to work his way back to the front now, as we've got now 9 to go in the stage. It's going to be close if they can get up here to the front, and maybe Jose can get some more stage points to help himself out, stay even, or stay close to the guys who are gaining some major points. Elridge George, who we saw earlier go a lap down, Chad, is now, or we thought maybe would go a lap down, all the way back up here at the front and leading the field to 8 to go.
Yeah, I mean, that first stage, he was cutting grass going across the front stretch, and with the stage break, able to catch back up to the field, and here he is leading the pack as they are coming up quick on that 11. The 11 is trying to go to the third line, trying to give as much room as he can. This is where it gets a little tricky. You got guys coming up with a lot of speed, and they have to maintain their lines, but it looks like they are all going to do pretty well. The 11 just needs to tuck back in, and he'll get his lap back here in the next, 5 laps.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal right now. He'll get that lap back and be able to work his way back through the field as long as he can hang on here. I don't know if there's something wrong with his car and why he was off the lead pack from the restart there, but yeah, he fell off and then just started losing more and more. I mean, when they're gaining 4 seconds on you a lap, pretty much within 15 laps they can be close to you. So, I mean, it's really hard to make up time if you're the only car that falls off the lead pack. And we've seen the next-gen cars early on in the season in the real life, one car would fall off of a lead pack of cars because they just couldn't keep up with them. For some reason, the next-gen just wasn't able to do it. I think iRacing has fixed some of that to where guys can stick with them a little bit, but I just wonder if he had any damage from before. You looked on his car, didn't see a whole lot of damage or anything wrong with the RPM level or anything like that, so I'm not sure what was going on there. But Byron Jones making a big move to the outside with his teammate Pacey Wygant. Josh Roberts gets turned and goes to the inside and takes out, I believe, I don't know who that was.
21.
Was that Chris Murphy? And that's not going to bring out a caution either because they're off track. That's going to pretty much end Chris Murphy's chance to get any stage points here with about 7 to go. It doesn't look like he has a whole lot of damage to the front of that car, but he does have some damage on the right side where Josh Roberts came in there. Looking at Josh's car, though, if I could find him here.
It was Jeff Jones.
Oh, was it Jeff Jones? Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff is now on pit road, missed his pit box. He's going to get into pit stall, try to get back out on track, but he's going to wind up going a lap down. If he can get out here, Shad, and get mixed into this pack somehow, Mike Campbell III is going to have to try to pass him, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get back out as they're coming off of turn 4 here. Mike Campbell actually coming back up to the front. He's right behind Pacey Wygen and the 2 of Byron Jones, helping those 2 out. 3 cars on the outside just went back by the middle and bottom line there that are stacked up 2 by 2 by 2 all the way from the 3rd lane all the way back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I looked at Chris Murphy's car. It's a little crinkled. Should be able to fix it.
Oh, and Byron gets
we got
turned.
Byron
Pacey.
Jones getting loose. It looked like Byron
Pacey
just
gonna try to
got loose
rejoin
on
the
his
field.
own.
Ooh, Tyler Dohar cut him a break right there.
That was Byron.
Yeah, but Dohar cut him a break when Byron came back up
Yeah.
into the field. He let
Byron
off.
got loose on his own. Nobody was on his bumper. That's what happens. These cars, late in the run, they do start to get loose coming off these turns. It's a little tricky. And I think that's what we're starting to see. Some of these guys, the cars are just coming out from underneath them. And
I can't believe he just spun across the field, went down to the apron, came back out into 4th, and is now taking back up to the high line with Pacey behind him again, and they're going to try to go back around these guys again to the front. 69 of Josh Warbert's trying to get in front of 2 and block him. He's going to get turned by the 2.
Oh,
It's going to turn the
no.
78 right back into the 2. We're going to have a big wreck on the front stretch here as they come to this. This is going to be a lot of playoff drivers, Chad.
yeah, that's 69. Jumped up in front of the 2, and
2's going
I
for
think
stage
there was
points.
a little, yeah, but I mean the 69's not even in the playoffs.
No,
I
I think that was a no-lift situation for Byron.
Yeah, he just made slight contact, and with these cars already being loose, it didn't take much, and Byron went down, hit the 78. I'm sure he's not happy. Tyler's been kind of wrecked out of these last few races and has lost a ton of points.
We'll take a look
And,
here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how bad is the damage on these guys, and
Oh, there's a lot of guys. 17's involved, Dohar's involved, 2's involved. Whew. Yeah, this is going to be a good amount of cars for the playoffs. I'm going to see Ryan McCall, who's also in the playoffs, Josh Roberts, who's not. Byron's and Dohar's doesn't look too bad. Zach Meredith doesn't look too bad either. There's a few in here. Mike York's got a little bit of damage, I think, as he came through there. Zach Meredith, I'm trying to get on his front of his car. Doesn't look bad at all either. I think he just got spun around. Ryan McCall, he's got some damage to the right front.
I'm not sure how, but somehow Chris Murphy went a lap down as well.
He went to pit road.
Okay.
Dohar's going to have some front right damage on his. The lucky thing, though, is if you have, say 30 seconds of repair or optional repair time or even required repair time, you can pretty much fix that in 1 lap because it takes forever for these guys to go around on this pace lap that I think it's definitely doable to fix the entire car or 30 to 40 seconds on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like the 69's damage is even worse. His car was shut off on pit road, and just seeing that he manually disconnected. So, unfortunately, it's going to end his night. And I think, Mike Campbell's going to get the wave or the lucky dog, put him back on the lead lap, and that will move Chris Murphy up to the lucky dog position. So he's going to need a caution here in this final stage to get back on the lead lap.
Hold on a second. I'm going to pull Papa Bear up here. Papa Bear, you got a second? Are we calling that the end of the stage, buddy?
Yes, sir. That's end of stage 2. As soon as the caution came out, I hollered out end of stage 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so I wanted a clarification on that, Shad, because I did see that there was 2 laps left in the stage. I wasn't sure if they were going to get it back going in time because the caution does not come out for the end of the stage until the end of lap 60. So that would have given him 3 laps, which essentially is a green, white, checkered coming to that end of stage. So, but Papa is going to declare that the end of the stage, which is only going to give Mike Campbell III the lucky dog. I was kind of thinking that if they were going to do a green, white, checker, that would have gave Mike Campbell III the lucky dog, and then Chris could have gotten his lap back at the end of the stage after that green, white, checker to the, or green, white, yeah, green checkered. But unfortunately for Chris, that is not going to be how it's going to be, and that's going to be the end of the stage, so he's definitely going to have to hope for another caution. There is no more stages. This is the final stage coming up, and he's going to need some help to get back on the lead lap and gain some more points here for a win. He's pretty much put himself into a must-win situation with that one, Chad.
Yeah, he's gonna need a little help, and hopefully stay in that lucky dog position. Hopefully his car is not too bad. I mean, it didn't look terrible from what I've seen when the 77 got into him, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess, once he gets it completely fixed and gets back out there to see if he can hang with this pack.
All right, I'm gonna try to pull Hunter Peach up here real quick. Mr. Hunter Peach, you got a copy of this to Swats and Shad up in the booth.
Yes, sir.
All right, but I believe you won that stage, correct?
I did not.
Oh.
Kyle won it.
Oh, Kyle
Because,
won
Mike didn't specify, so I didn't get the pit. So now I'm basically out here unless I want to take a hold. So. Yeah. So I thought we were ended under yellow, but apparently it was frozen when the yellow flag came out. So Kyle's the stage winner. And I was stuck out here on old tires.
All right, well, we'll let you get back down there and figure that out. Sorry about that.
You're good.
All right, Mr. Kyle Taub, this is Watson Shad up in the booth.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, after a little bit of confusion there, we were trying to figure out who won that stage with the caution coming out and the end of the stage happening there. It looks like you won that stage. Congratulations on another stage win. I know you're not, battling for points tonight with already being locked in. It is Talladega. You are one of 2 militia members that does not have a win at a super speedway within turn down for what? I'm assuming you're going for the win.
Yeah, a win would be nice. I've been chasing a win here since I blew the one at Atlanta earlier this season. I don't think I've won a super speedway race at all on this service since I've had it. So one would be nice.
Yeah, so Kyle, my question for you is, if the win is that important to you, comes down to the last lap and your teammate who's fighting to get in the playoffs, do you go around him or not?
Not gonna wreck him.
So that means he's going around him. All right, we'll send you back down to your teammates. Good luck in this final stage. Congratulations on making it to the championship race in 2 weeks at Phoenix.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt. Quick question.
Yep.
What does my car look like on the broadcast? Is it just a plain white
Mountain
car?
Dew, something looking like green on top,
Oh, okay.
white middle.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep, I rebooted all of Trading Paints and everything like that, so you're good to go.
Thank you, Kurt.
All right, Chad. So you heard him there. He is not going to spin his teammate, but that does not mean that he is going to let his teammate win the race. He's going to go for that win. So, I mean, that's kind of a toughie. I assume you'd go for it. So, but we're going to go back green here. You see a lot of guys stacked up in the back here because they did come down pit road and top off. Is that a move you would have done, Chad?
What is it? What are we on lap 60?
60 to go. 59 to go.
I was told they could go 32 to 35, so one stop, everybody should be able to make it. So, I think some of these guys coming down to top off, it was actually probably coming down to fix even more damage. But yeah, so you already see 45 making some moves. Jumped right in front of that 5 car to get out front. 45 is one of those guys battling for one of those final 2 spots. He gets the win. He don't have to worry about points. So, here we go. Final stage. You definitely don't want to make a mistake. As we see the 5 get suckered into the sucker hole. And luckily is able to get right down. So, good on him on finding that spot. And as we see Pacey, the 00, out front on the outside road trying to lead them up, as they are very close to the wall. That 16 I don't think you can fit a piece of paper between him and the wall right there. But
So no index card like they had at the Patriots game.
yeah, I don't understand where that rule came into play, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these cars, and I'm loving that I'm seeing that black and pink car that's been riding around in the back of the field most of the night, sitting here second now, showing up in the final stage here. Did not have to worry about any points as he is not a playoff driver. Strictly trophy hunting tonight, and up at the front in the final stage is where you want to be, Shad. Do you want to be leading on the final lap?
Yeah, I don't know, because sometimes you can block it, other times you go to block it, you get turned. If you are leading, you definitely do not. If you see that guy behind you starting to back off to get a run, you better back off to his bumper too. But you have to play it careful. If you back off and he's already back onto the gas from backing off of you, he's going to have a massive run with you slowing down. So it takes a lot of skill to be up front on that final lap and come out with the win. So to me, I'd rather be in second.
Backing up to your team, or backing up to the driver behind you, though, can definitely hurt you if you have an outside line formed on the final lap as well. The guy behind you can't go nowhere if there is an outside line to you. So you kind of have to be, observant throughout your mirrors all over the place in these final laps here. You have to be looking in every direction possible to see where cars are. If you have it exactly like we are right here, 2x2x2, all the way through the field, Chad, I wouldn't worry about the guy behind me. I would worry about the guy to the outside of me.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, if we're too wide, then yeah, you just need to make sure that guy on your outside, you side draft him, but you do not leave enough room between you and that yellow line for the guy behind you to get underneath you. But yeah, as you see, that second line is starting to fall back. Pacey jumped to the bottom, and since he did that, they lost all their momentum, and now it's the bottom line that's prevailing.
Well, I mean, Chad, here in the final stage, I've been more of a timid driver compared to yourself, who's a little more aggressive. I don't have a problem going 3 wide or 4 wide or anything like that, but I tend to want to ride around in the back of the pack and avoid wrecks, but I have been taken out by wrecks out in front of me by doing that. You seem to always usually say, no, I want to be up front. Coming to this final stage, if you are a playoff driver that is not locked into the field, there are no more stage points to get. Do you ride at the front for most of this stage, or do you fall off with a few guys with you to try to keep pace with that front pack and try to be there at the end instead of trying to ride in the front where you can get turned, or riding in the second line or third line where a guy could get wrecked in front of you, or you could get turned by a guy behind you and have a whole pile up? There are no fast repairs, so I always seem to think, well, I'll just ride around in the back and wait and be there at the end.
Well, I've tried both, and I never have any luck. I lead laps at these super speedways, but I seem to always get wrecked out at some point. I don't know. Like, if you drop back, you better make sure you've communicated that with like 4 or 5 guys, because if you don't have 4, probably you're gonna lose the draft and you'll never make it back up. And then you're pretty much just praying for a wreck. But then again, if you're up front, to me, I want to be up front. I want to be the first, one of the first guys on the either inside or outside row. That's where I feel most comfortable, because I feel like, I can hold a straight line. The guy behind me, hopefully, as long as he stays with me, I'm golden. So, yeah, if I'm one of those guys that has to win, I guess I'm trying to just get a feel, like Chris Murphy right now. He needs a caution. That's the only way he has a chance at this race. He has to have a caution and get that lap back. So for him,
he's cautioned not to be involved in that caution either.
Yeah. So for him, like, I probably ride around the back. You're not going to gain anything by being at the front. You can ride around the back, be the last car, make sure that the guy in front of you is staying with the draft. If he's not, then you got to go around him. But I would stay towards the back, give yourself more time to be able to get on the brakes in case something happens in front of you. And then, I mean, at that point, you're just praying. You're praying for something to happen to where you can get back on the lead lap. And, some of these other guys that are right there on the cut line, you can't ride in the back, because if something happens and you get caught up into it, you're going to be saying, well, damn, I should have been up front. And also, as we get later in this race, you gotta know your surroundings. You gotta know who you're fighting with. And hey, if that guy that's a point behind me is 3 positions in front of me, I need to get in front of him. So it's a lot. I bet a lot of these drivers are wishing they had a spotter that could not only give them where the runs are coming or where to go, but could also figure out for them what the point situation is right now, and to tell them, like, hey, you need to be in front of that 11 car or 78 or whoever it is. So it's a lot to think about, but we have a lot of laps to go, so anything can happen right now.
I mean, we're coming to 53 to go as they come off of turn 2 here. There will be that one pit stop throughout here. Gas only? Tires? Right sides? If you're taking gas only, do you throw right sides on to give yourself a little bit extra grip? Do you no tires and just fuel only? I mean, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, to try to minimize. I mean, I understand you're probably going to be running these tanks to where they're damn near dry. So yeah, you could take tires. It's going to extend your pit stop by a little bit. So what I would do, instead of taking 4, which would make your pit stop around 14 seconds, I would do right sides. The car feels just fine with just right sides. The lefts don't really wear around here. And that should keep your pit stop somewhere around, I think, 11 with taking a fuel load. So yeah, I'm taking rights and going from there.
Yeah, look at all the non-playoff drivers in that bottom line. We were talking about Mike Campbell, the third, 1 lap down earlier. He is up here in the bottom line in the 2nd spot. Jeff Ludnam, our good buddy Mike Honcho, up here in the top spot on the bottom line. He was trailing Pacey, decided to bail down to the bottom. Now Nate Lehman slides up into that spot right behind the 00 of Pacey. Jeff Ludnam or Mike Campbell the third, if they win this race, it would be awesome. John Osborne sitting there third behind them. He is a non-playoff driver as well. Gary Huffington the 4 on the outside, non-playoff driver. 16 of Kyle Taub locked in. 14 of Nate Lehman locked into the playoff or the championship race. Most of the guys at the front right now are not drivers that are not really looking for points. Chris Murphy up here in the front pack, but he is 1 lap down. Zach Meredith right behind him, trying to push him up towards the front so that he can get up here and try to battle for some laps. There's so much going on here. I hope Papa's doing some quick math in his head before this thing ends, and we can know who won or who got into the next round of the championship here based on the points. But Pacey up here leading a bunch of laps. He led some laps early on. Somebody's got to get that extra point for the most laps led. Taub's been up here leading a bunch of laps. He's in contention for that. Nate Lehman led a few laps early on. So he's going to have to gain some more laps. But Pacey and Kyle are the 2 right now I'm looking at that are leading the most laps right now so far. Maybe the 5 car as well is in that mix, and maybe the 45 as well. But, I mean, if Pacey wants that extra point, he's got to stay up front. He's got to be looking in the rearview mirror the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to, get as many stage points as you can. You get that bonus for leading a lap, and then if you can get that extra bonus for leading the most laps, and then I think there was the pole award too. You could get a bonus point. So, there's ways to maximize your points to make it easier on yourself, but nothing makes it easier than getting a win and locking yourself in that way. But I'm impressed. The 11, we saw him the last run. He fell off. We were wondering what maybe his car had too much damage, and here he is right up there with the pack. So I'm not sure if maybe that was just a strategy, figuring, hey, I'll get my lap back, and I'll just ride it safe. And then the 21, he's still got quite a bit of a hump on his hood, and I'm noticing he's having a little trouble staying close to that 4 in front of him, and that's not beneficial for him, because that might be extra time on pit road, but he's still needing a caution. So he is praying that somebody makes a move and it brings out that yellow and he can get that lap back, because right now there's just no way for him to win this race where he's at. So, but yeah, it seems like the moves have kind of calmed down here. You know, guys aren't really making those dramatic moves. They've been pretty much too wide since the start, and you know, it's that front 4 or 5 up top that are just staying up top and not cutting down in front of anyone. So I think everyone's kind of waiting for that fuel run, and I expect them to come somewhere around 30 or 31. But actually, the 5 car who wasn't able to pit under that caution, that stage end, he's having to come this time. That's huge. He's in the points for, you know, and here he is having to pit early. And
same with the 25 of Enrique. He's got to come with him. Both of them have not pitted in 41 laps.
And you can't make it from here. They're gonna have to pit again.
Yeah, they're both going to be praying for cautions as well. But I mean, Hunter did gain some points. He's led some laps. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. He's going to have to hope and pray for that caution to restack them up. If you're coming down right now, I think it's only fuel only, and get out of that pit as fast as you possibly can with Enrique. Try to get linked up and try to maybe take away a little bit of time these guys are gaining on each other until they start coming down for green flag stops. Chad, we've seen incidents happen all the time with green flag stops. Somebody slows down before somebody else. Somebody tries to go to the inside or the outside around a car before they get to the pit line. We've seen guys slow down on pit road and make a mistake. We've seen guys blow pit stops or pit stalls and have to back it up. There's so many different things that could happen here that could bring out a caution. I don't think Hunter's out of it, but I think it's going to be close because they're coming through turn 1 right now. They're just onto the backstretch, getting up to speed. I feel like they're for sure probably going to go a lap down. That's going to be pretty much a battle between the 21 and the 5 for that top lucky dog spot. I don't know if the 25 will really battle it to be in there because his teammate, the 5, is battling for that playoff spot. So I would think he would just give him the lucky dog. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that are going on right now. There's so many different strategies that are rolling through people's heads. Do you come early? Do you wait? Do you run it completely out of gas? Do you come with the big pack? Do you come with a small pack? We always see the CDR, CCR, militia guys kind of do a little bit different than everybody else. They usually come a little bit earlier than everybody else, and they usually come 4 or 5 deep, but they don't have the 7 or 8 cars that they normally do at these tracks within their 2 teams of drivers together. Does that change tonight? Do they swap up that strategy a little bit?
Well, I think what I'm watching right now, Pace has been up front for quite a while. And you got that 14 behind him. You got a couple of the other guys that are right there on the bubble. They're riding in the pack right now. I've actually seen guys let off, not take that run and go somewhere with it. I think what they're trying to do is conserve fuel. And you think, if you can run 5, 6 laps longer than the guy that's out front, who's he going to pit with? And then also, that's less time you have to be on pit road because you can click it and change. Instead of taking, 11, 12 gallons, you can take 9.
Do you risk that, though, with it being Talladega with green, white checkers?
I think, if it was a green, white checker, you could always come down top off. I mean, you can go from last to first and a lap around here once you're up to speed. So, what did we see? Earnhardt that one year went from like 14th to first,
9th.
3 laps or something like, 19th.
Or no, that was Earnhardt Jr., sorry, 9th to first.
Yeah, but his dad did it years before that. So, I mean, it's possible around, these super speedways to do that. In these cars, you get a massive run. You just got to know when to take it and where to go. So, I think right now everyone's kind of riding. They know there's a green flag stop. They all have to come. But unfortunately, for like Hunter in that 25 car, them not coming, not realizing that the stage ended, that they should have pitted when they first came around the pits, they right now are in serious trouble along with that 21. They need a caution.
Yeah, does this hurt Pacey, though? I'm kind of wondering, like, him leading all these laps, if you're leading the field, you burn more fuel than the other guys behind you who can let off just a little bit and conserve fuel. Pacey is that driver that's on the cut line. Should he be up here leading all these laps? I know that 1 point is a big deal for leading the most laps, but if you're burning way more fuel than everybody else and you have to come early and nobody else goes with you, you basically just took yourself out of playoff contention.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, right now he better be talking to the guys that are in that chat with him and like, hey, I got this amount of laps
Make any
left.
deal possible.
Yeah, like, hey, if
Swear
I come
every
this left,
promise.
yeah, will you come with me? And the problem is they haven't worked that well throughout the entire race. They weren't pushing each other. So, you know, if I'm his teammate and I'm like, oh, well, I got 3 extra laps than you do, and the rest of the pack does too, I'm coming with the rest of the pack. I'm not going to sacrifice just
Do you
to come
risk
with a
going with the
teammate.
big pack, though? That's where we see all those incidents on track.
I mean, yeah,
If
that
you
is
can get 4 or
always-
5 guys to stay out with you, I think you're good. But if 10, 15 guys come down at the same time and bail on the leader, that's a lot of cars to come down pit road, and we've seen so many incidents happen coming to that pit line.
It's true. Some guys really try to, you know, get as much as they can. Other guys, you know, they step on the brakes with these old tires and the car just spins out. You know, they downshift too early and, you know, wheel hop it. So, yeah, that is a risk, especially, you know, with all the cars coming at once. But, I mean, I don't really think about that. Like, I'll come with the pack if I have to, because I know, like, myself, what I can do. And I usually practice coming down pit road on old tires during practice. And some things you just can't control, you know. So I see, you know, Zach Marriott dive to the bottom. Are they setting it up for, you know, a fuel stop here coming up? You know, because he was sitting there riding behind the 21 of Murphy for the longest time, and then just got the run and took it. And I feel like
He gets in
they
front of
may
his
be trying
teammate.
to. Yeah, I feel like they may be trying to set up something. I think if maybe
If you see
Lehman
Lehman
can get
bail down,
clear-
yeah.
Yeah, if Lehman can get clear and bail down, I think they're setting something up.
I'm looking for the rest of them, and 2 of them obviously are right in front of them. Do you, as Meredith or Taub, get behind the 25 and the whatever the other car is? Do you get behind the 25 and the 5 and allow them to push that bottom line and save fuel, or do you go right by them and put them a lap down?
I mean, obviously,
Lehman takes the lead.
Lewis Pacey is getting loose going through the front stretch there. Yeah, if you catch those guys, you're going, you know, 15 mile an hour or more faster than them. You can't really just. The pack's gonna have to work their way around, and if they go lap down, they go lap down. You know, you can only look at Mike
Ooh,
Campbell.
car bailing off.
He gets loose, saves it. Probably gonna lose the draft, but did save it. Didn't touch nothing. So, but yeah, there's only so much you can do to help your teammates out. I mean, the 5, the 25, they're gonna have to pit again too. So
Well, the 17's battling with the 5 for that last spot, or one of the 2 spots. So
yeah.
I don't know
So
if I
is
let him
the-
in.
So is the 00. So is the 2, the 48, the 78, the 45. They're all battling. So there's only so much you can do to help a teammate, and with them having to make an extra stop, I don't think anything they're going to do is going to be able to help that. These guys need a caution along with that 21 of Chris Murphy.
Well, they are 2 by 2 by 2. We are coming up on those pit stops. We got 38 to go. They're closing in on that 25 and 5 right now. Their last lap times was a 51.6 for the lead lap cars and Enrique and Hunter. They all ran about the same. Actually, Enrique and Hunter ran a little faster than the lead pack here. How is that happening?
That's really good drafting is what that is. You know, that's
Enrique is an
staying
incredible pusher. I will say that.
That's, you know, for the most part, staying right on the guy in front of you. But as you see, the Hunter Peach kind of had to back off. He's riding a little bit higher down the straightaway. His car probably was starting to get hot. Now that he's gotten to cool off, you see him starting to gain right back on him. Going to get that push going down the backstretch maybe. And that's the only problem with 2 cars is to go the same speed as the leaders, you have to push so much that your engine starts to overheat. So I think this lap time you'll see here, is quite a bit slower than what the leaders are running.
Well, we've got 37 to go at Talladega, third race of the playoffs for turn down for what? This is the final stage. Getting ready to come up to green flag stops here. We've got the lead lap pack coming around on some cars that are going to probably wind up going a lap down here that had to make an extra pit stop. Right now, Shad, if you have to pick a driver, obviously Chris Murphy is one lap down. Are you staying with Chris, or are you going to go with a different driver?
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Chris win. You know, he's a great dude. He's teammates of mine for a couple seasons and a couple different leagues. But, you know, I don't know. I think out of those playoff guys, you know, right now, based on track position and where he's at, I have to go with that 00. You know, he's been holding his own. The only problem I've seen with him is a couple times he's gotten quite a bit loose and got lucky that the guys behind him didn't, you know, tap him just a little bit. But I'd still really like to see Chris Murphy pull this one out.
Well, I'm going to stick with Byron. He's sitting there right now in 6th place on that bottom line as they're all getting formed up on the bottom line, Chad. Pit stops are looking like they are coming very soon here. You see Nate Lehman trying to go around the outside. No help, though. He's going to be able to get alongside the 37 of Jeff Ludnam, but he's going to stall out right there unless anybody else jumps up there with him. At this point, I would not jump up and help him. He's already locked into the playoffs. I would try to go by him and get that extra point if I was Byron. He's got his dad on his rear bumper. John Osborne's right back there. Ryan McCall, Tyler Dohar, Mike York, Jose Ruiz, Gary Huffins. They're all stacked up behind the two, behind this group here. But the rest of the front pack, I mean, Meredith's been kind of sticking to the back bumper of Pacey. Of the two at the front, I think Pacey, like you said before, is, I mean, he's in the best spot right now as being the top spot. But I think Meredith has the advantage of being behind him. The only problem is if those two get out further than everybody else, it comes down to a shootout between two cars. And we've seen a lot of different things happen between two cars on a final lap. If they do get away from each other, Zach Meredith would have to back up from Pacey and get a big run on him to at least get side by side with him as they came through the front tri-oval to get to that finish line. I still think Pacey might pull that off if it is a two-car battle coming to the end. We see the cars coming up on the lap down cars of the 25 and 5 now as they're getting put a lap down. They're going to fall in line, though, I would think, with the leaders and push them.
Yeah, they fell in line. I mean, they got to stay with them and hope for that caution because right now, the 5 is sitting the lucky dog. He's in front of the 21. So if there is that caution, the 5's going to get it, and the 21's going to get screwed.
Look at the 5-car pack, though, Shed. They pulled away from the rest of the cars.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have, a few guys running single file, and then you've seen that 14 for a long time riding on the side door of that 37. For some reason, that bottom line, even though it was just a 14 up by himself, they could not get by him because the 14 was side drafting so much. And it slowed that whole line down, and this is what allowed the 17, the 00, the 16 to pull away, and then now they collected the 2 lap down cars, and now you got 5 cars against the rest of the field. And
here's the problem, though, Shad. The only car that's not a teammate-driven car in that front 5 is Pacey. The other 4 are teammates. If you're those 4 right now talking to each other in a chat, Pacey cannot hear those guys talking because he is in a different chat unless they are talking over the race chat, which I would not be giving away my pit strategy right now over race chat. But those 4 can communicate and say, hey, we're going to go at this lap. The 4 of us go at the last second, brake hard, get into pit stalls. Pacey would be left out on track by himself. He'll fall back to that pack if they don't come with him. But that second pack back there, they can see that front pack go. And you want to go at the same time as those guys, I would think. Or do you go around one more lap with a full pack of cars and pull away from them?
I think right now this is setting up perfectly for Meredith. They have a huge gap back to 4th place, and he has a teammate that is on the lead lap that's going to come with him when they come to pit. And if, say, they go the same time as Pacey when they come out, they should still have that lead over the second pack. There'll be 3 cars. And
I think the 5 and 25 go with them and pit again at the same time. They have to pit one more time anyways.
Yeah, they have to. So they could, and then you have a 4-on-1, and only one of those cars could technically win the race.
Well,
Which
two
would
of
be the
them.
17. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could have a 17 to 16 win, but 16 could push his teammate to the win past Pacey, and the 5 and 25, they're lapped down anyways. And this could set up perfect for Meredith to where Pacey's going to be a sitting duck in front of 4 teammates.
If that
So,
happens, though, Shed, that's 3 cars from the militia that'll be locked into the playoffs. One position would be open for either Pacey, Byron, Tyler Dohar, Jose Ruiz, Ryan McCall, Chris Murphy. All those guys would be fighting for that one position left over to go to the Final 4 at the championship race in 2 weeks. Pacey, to me, would be set up for that because he is at the front. He's leading all these laps. He's led about 34 straight since they dropped the green flag for the third stage. I would say he's going to get that bonus point for leading the most laps. If he can finish in the top 3 with only 3 guys up here actually on the lead lap, 2 of them are a lap down the 5 and 25, that puts Pacey in that 4th spot. I somehow would be trying to reach out to the other 4 guys in this group and saying, hey, the 5 of us just pulled away from the front pack. Let the 5 of us go together. Let the 5 of us battle it out here at the end, or the 3 of us on the lead lap battle it out here on the end. Meredith's probably going to get that win with having 3 teammates behind him, but Pacey would still get into the playoffs because he is up at the front.
Yeah, I mean, Pacey was the best as far as point-wise. He was a +5 over the cut line. He's had decent stages, led a lot of laps, and, if he was to finish, say, 2nd, 3rd, whatever it would be, I feel like he's easily in. He's going to gain on guys like Jose, who's right there. And as they're coming to pit road, all 5 of them are coming down. So, and it looks like the rest of the pack is staying out. A few takers, the 2 of Byron Jones and 21 of Chris Murphy's in the grass. Kind of came in there hot. Well, to see if he got a penalty too. That's just going to make his day go from bad to worse. But this could be playing out perfectly for that 17 car.
Yeah, he just spun out in the grass too, so that's going to hurt him even more. But yeah, the 5 that just came down pit road that were battling there for the front pack, I think this sets up perfectly for them. The only advantage that the guys out on track have is they have more guys. If they could have gotten linked up, which it doesn't look like they are because of force falling off the front pack, they could have gained some decent time by running, those faster laps. But these 5 are going to come out together. They're going to get linked back up together. They only took fuel because, no, they might have taken tires. Some of them were at 14 seconds. Ryan McCall and John Osborne did come down pit road last time. But I'm thinking Byron might have got hit with a penalty there because he's on pit road for a long time now, 45 seconds. So I would say he definitely got hit with a penalty.
Yeah,
Murphy's on the pit road too for that long.
Him and the 21 were pretty hot coming in, and look at this. Those 5 came out. 3 of them just went right around Pacey, and who's sitting in prime spot? The 17. If his teammate lets him go, that would give Meredith the win. He would lock in, and Pacey would too. So Pacey right now, he doesn't have to win this race. I don't think. He can sit there and stay in this group of 5 cars and ride it out. And I think even if he finishes 3rd, he's just fine. So, I don't know. Maybe they're communicating that. It doesn't sound like any race chatter has been said like that. So, we got what? 36 laps, 35 laps to go. So
26.
Yeah, and with the 5 and 25 being back out in front of those leaders, that actually puts the 11 of Mike Campbell 3rd in the lucky dog right now.
Yeah, the other thing this does too is it allows those guys to be out front, and these guys can really push the draft with the 5, and they can conserve some fuel for a green-white checkered if they needed it. I think they got enough fuel for at least 1 or 2 green-white checkers right now with only 26 to go. But I'm seeing Tyler Dohar back there in 3rd right now. This helps him as well. As long as Meredith does not win, it would probably be Pacey and I'm going to say either Tyler, Jose, or Byron. But Byron's going to be obviously hit with a penalty on pit road. with the 21, they all need cautions now. But we're so spread out. We got packs all over the place. There's groupings all over. You've got Tyler Dohar and them on pit road right now with Jose Ruiz, John Osborne, Nate Lehman, Mike York, Ryan McCall, Jeff Ludnam, all on pit road right now. They're getting ready to come back out, but it looks like they have long stops.
Right now.
Looks like they took tires.
Yeah, the leaders are going to fly by them.
All right, so they're still going to be on the same lap, but they're going to be a big gap back to them. If you're Tyler Dohar right now, all you need to do is get into that fourth position in front of John Osborne and hope that you have enough points to get into that final spot if Meredith does not win.
Yeah. I just feel like if the 17 wins, the 00's making it on points. If the 17 doesn't win, I feel like it's going to be the 00. And then I don't know.
Yeah.
Did Jose get
There's
enough
where it
stage
gets tricky.
points? Yeah, did Jose get enough stage points? Did Byron Jones get enough? The problem is Byron Jones now is a lap down. He needs a caution.
I mean, pulling
Okay,
up
so
the
then
standings, Chad, we can see exactly what we're talking about here. Dohar was 5 points down. Byron was 4 points back. Jose was +4. Pacey was +5. We know those four finished in the stages with some points. I just don't know who got the most points out of those stages. I think it would be Pacey out of that group. Pacey or Byron. But Byron's going to be hit with that penalty. He's going to wind up going a lap down at some point here. He's already a lap down. So he's not going to be able to make it. He's probably not going to be able to get into the points for the final four. It's going to be really close, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it. The question is does Dohar have enough points to get past Jose Ruiz, where he finished one place in front of him in stage one? I believe he finished 4 places in front of him for stage 2, and I don't think Jose got any stage points in stage 2.
Dohar got the pole.
And Dohar got the pole. So there's, 7 points right there. That would put Dohar 2 points in front of Jose just on stages alone. And Dohar is sitting 5th. Jose Ruiz is sitting 7th. That would put Dohar in.
Yeah, so that's what it comes. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Does the 16 let his teammate win this race? He said he wouldn't wreck him, but we also heard him at the end of stage 2 or stage 1, Meredith saying that the 16 wasn't going to wreck him, but it looked like the 16 let him get that stage point. So
does the 17
I've had
wreck him?
teammates, yeah, I've had teammates help me. In the leagues I've ran, I told them, hey, I need as many points as I can get to make it to the playoffs. I won both stages, finished good in the race, and it helped me get into the playoffs. So, right now, Meredith, I think he needs the win. I don't think he's in on points over Dohar. So.
No, I don't think he is either. It's
then again,
close.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's like 1 or 2 points. Dohar with the bonus point of the pole, I think, helps him in that direction. Meredith has not led the most laps, so he's not going to get that point. Dohar's not led the most laps, so he's not going to get that point. But Zach did get probably 4 to 5 more points than Dohar in each stage. He was 8 points back from the cut line. So that would put him over Dohar right now.
Yeah, that's
by
where it's
like 1
get
point.
tricky. But I just seen the 16 was blinking real bad. Papa had to come over the radio and let him know, like, your blinking dropped back, and that's allowed. Now the 17 is going to take the lead with Pacey right behind him. These lap cars, turn down for what has a rule. Final 10 laps.
It's 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah, the lap cars have to get out of the way and let the leaders battle it out. So
they're not technically lap down cars, though.
Well, yeah, that is true. The 5
if
is
Hunter's
in
out front, he's not a lap down car, so I don't think that rule applies. The 25 would have to bail out.
Yeah, the 25 would have to bail out. But
whoever else is there, who is
he
that?
technically
69?
is bailed out, so 77.
Oh, 77. Okay.
So, if he goes high, to follow, say, the 17, he's technically falling back. He's behind him. So he could still affect it. The biggest thing right now is the 17. If he gets around that 5, 5 and the 25 have to back to the back of this group. Now, the problem is for Pacey is if he goes high coming out of turn 4, nobody's going to go with him because that's 4 teammates up there. So
Yeah, let's grab Papa real quick. Hey, Papa Bear, you got a second?
Yes, sir.
All right, but we just need a clarification here. With the lap down car rule with 10 laps to go, technically Hunter is not a lap down car at the moment. Does he have
will
to
not-
move out of the way?
No.
Okay.
He's still on the lead lap. He does not have to move.
Okay, so he can stay there. Does the
Yep.
25 and the 77 have to bail out of this lead lap pack so they do not affect the leaders?
No, they're just riding right behind him, and
But
they're
they
not
can't go up
there
and pass him,
affected.
though.
No, they shouldn't be able to go up and pass him, so they're fine.
Okay. All right, so if we see the 25 go to the outside and try to pass all these lead lap cars, is that a problem?
Well, the 25, that'll put him back on the lead lap.
Exactly,
And
so-
then that would be battling the 5 for position. So we're kind of.
It's kind of
It'll be
catch-22
interesting.
there. Yeah. All right,
right.
so that's what we were trying to clarify because I was like, I don't know which part of the rule that would be because they're allowed to battle, but they're not technically a lap down, but it
Right.
would be technically helping the 17 if they are allowed to stay there because they are teammates of the 17. The 00 does not have any teammates in this front group, so that's what we were trying to figure out. If those 3 cars are lap down cars, do they have to bail out of the way? Or if they're lead lap cars, technically they're still battling for position even if they're lap down. They're battling for the lucky dog, so that really falls into play too. So that's, we were all over the
Right.
place with kind of confusion.
Right.
All right, we'll send you back down to race control. Thank you for coming up and clarifying that for us.
Thank you.
So Shad, I don't know if that really clarified it because there's all kinds of stipulations there where guys could be on the lead lap, like the 5 car is technically, but he is battling for position to be on the lead lap. So that's technically battling a lead lap car to be on the lead lap within 10 laps. The 25 could technically try to come up to the front as well. There's all kinds of
gray
problems.
area, but
Yeah.
I have the stages. So Zach Meredith, 5 stage points. Byron Jones, 5 stage points. Pacey Wygent, 3 stage points. Tyler Dohar, only 1.
Okay, so Zach gained 2 points on, who'd you say, Pacey?
Yep.
Uh,
He gained 0 on Byron.
Tyler
He
didn't
lead a
gain
lap.
any. Well, he did get the bonus point for the pole too, so you got to put him at 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's going to be like 1 point separation for those final spots. It's going to be close, but I mean, if you're Tyler Dohar and you're leading this second pack, I would think you would go for every point you can get. If you do get passed by Ryan McCall, Jose Ruiz, John Osborne, Nate Lehman, Michael York, Jeff Lednam, do you block? Do you race door to door, maybe causing an incident? I mean, there's so many different things that could happen on that last lap. I would think you go for broke, but if you get taken out coming off of turn 4 and you drop all the way to 20th, that could affect your playoff run as well. They're clearly not
Yeah.
going to be able to win the race unless the caution comes out.
Yeah, looking at the lap times last time by, Zach Meredith, your leader, ran a 50.2. Tyler Dohar, leading the second group, ran a 50.5. They lost 3/10. This time around, Meredith, same thing, 50.29. Dohar, a 50.61. So that second pack is losing like 3/10 on that front 6 cars. So right now, Dohar's only chance is a caution.
If a caution
and
comes
like
out,
I'm
though, that
involved.
puts the 5 back on the lead lap because technically he's on the
Yep.
lead lap right now. That gives the lucky dog to the 25. So that puts 2 more militia members back on the lead lap to help the 17 or the 16 or the 14 try to get back up here. There's a lot of different scenarios that could happen here. We're so separated, but we do have, a few little packs of 5, 6, 7 cars mixed in together within these packs. We could still see an incident. We've seen cars get loose coming off the corners by themselves that that could happen too. We've got lap down cars coming around as well in front of the leaders right now. They're up on the top lane. Bottom lane is where the lead lap cars go. As I see, is that the 21 and the 4 that are about to go
could
up?
actually be in front. He's on the lead lap right now. He could drive in front of the 5.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah, because now he's going to fall behind the 25, and if the caution came out, he would not be the lucky dog. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't jump in front. He was more than able to.
If you're Meredith right now, though, wouldn't you be yelling at Peach saying, hey, let me get by you to get in between me and you and Pacey? Or do you let
No,
the 5
because-
stay there in case the caution comes out and puts him back on the lead lap? But Meredith would be battling him for playoff points. So, no teams,
Yeah,
remember,
it's
and I made it to you, or made it to the playoffs and you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, right now Meredith's in a great spot. He's got the draft in front of him. Pacey's not going to be able to pass him unless he gets help, which he won't because he has no teammates. Except for maybe the 4. The 4's
4 of the 21 and the 77 are there now. That does give him 3 behind him.
21 though is multiple laps down. He's got 2 laps.
He only
and then
needs
he's
some
got
help
a back to
for
back.
draft, though. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I was going to say he could use them for help for draft, but if he's a lap down car, he can't battle the leaders, so he can't help the leaders either.
Yeah, in 2 laps, Meredith or Murphy has to back to the back of this pack. So right now, I think Meredith's sitting in the prime spot. Pacey, he would need Kyle or Enrique or pretty much them too, or the 4. Because everyone else back there, the 77, the 21, are multiple laps down. So he would need Kyle, the 25, or the 4 to go with him. And I just don't see
you just stay
Kyle.
where you're at.
Yeah, that's what I would do because I doing the math, I'm pretty sure he's golden. If he just stays where he's at, finishes 2nd place, he's going to be in on points. He will be that one driver that I talked about at the beginning of the race that would make it on him points if we had someone else win out of these playoff drivers. And, Meredith got 5 stage points in the beginning. It's not enough. He finishes 1st. It's going to be close. Or he finishes 2nd. It would be close on points. But if he finishes 1st, that's all we need. So right now, I think Meredith stays right where he's
another
at.
wrench in there, Shaq. Kyle Tobb said he was going for the win. He's never won at a super speedway on iRacing. He's been close, but he's never won. He's sitting 3rd in the race, but he's sitting 4th on that bottom line in this pack. If he pulls out and Pacey pulls out, does Tobb sit there with Pacey and push him right back by the 17, hoping the 16 can get by the 00 as well for the win? Or at this point, as a teammate, are you sitting there saying, if the 00 goes, I'm not leaving your rear end, I'm not leaving your wing?
Yeah, I think Kyle right now is telling Meredith that, I'm not leaving my wingman.
No matter what the 00 does, I'm staying with you.
Yeah, so...
Or at least that's, if I'm the 17, I'm screaming that at the top. Like, whatever the 00 does, do not go with him.
I don't see Kyle or the 25 going with them. And I think, if Pacey pulls out, he's going to the back of this group. So pretty much Pacey's only chance is he needs that 17 to get loose. The 17 has gotten loose a few times coming out of these turns on these old tires. So that's pretty much his only chance is to have
If
the
you're
17
Pacey, do
get
you give
loose.
a bump to that 17? Get him loose off the bottom? Or turn him? Or anything else?
It's kind of risky. Right now, I think Pacey might know he's good on points. So if he does go up there, he tries to bump 17 for the win. Yeah, Dohar would probably love that, or Byron Jones, because they're close. But the problem is, you go give a bump, he gets loose, and he spins right in front of you. You could get collected, and if that was to happen to Pacey, he could find himself not in the in the final 4. So
yeah, but coming through the trial, though, you could still make it to the finish line maybe before that 2nd pack even comes.
I mean, the 2nd
depending
pack,
on what happens.
Dohar's 5 seconds back, so yeah, if you spin, you better recover real quick. And even at that, 5 seconds around here at 190 mile an hour ain't much. So, yeah, and I just feel like if Pacey just stays where he's in, and I think he probably knows that. If not, someone probably should have told him that.
The second group, though, did just get 2 extra cars with the 21 and the 4. They did just run pretty close lap times to the leaders. If they can get figured out and get lined out, The problem is Dohar and Ruiz are battling back there as well. Ruiz technically had more points than Dohar before the tonight started. I don't know what his map or what his points were either, Shaq, because he was sitting third or fourth in the standings. If I pull those up again real quick, we'll see it. Yeah, so Ruiz was sitting +4.
I don't think he got any stage points.
I know he didn't. I don't think he got any in the second stage. I think the first stage he might have got a couple. But you know, Jose.
He did lead a lap, but
yeah. So there's a point.
The problem is if Meredith wins, Pacey's going to beat him out on points.
Pacey did lead a lap as well.
Yeah, and I think Pacey might have led the most.
Well, the only problem is if Meredith does not win. That's where I'm talking about the two positions that are open.
Oh, yeah.
Jose Ruiz might be able to get in there. So does he, in that second pack, battle it out with Dohar for those extra 2 points? Because right now he could get Ryan McCall and Dohar for 2 points. We're going to have a lot of action coming to this finish line with 2 different packs. It's going to be hard to keep track of who's who and who's where coming to this finish line in 7 laps.
Last time by, Meredith ran a 50.25. Dohar, the leader of the second pack, ran a 51.2, a second slower, and they have more cars. That just goes to show you, like, if you stay in line, you stay close to the bumper. You don't even have to be on the bumper in these cars. You stay close, you stay in line, you can run fast, even if you have less cars. So that's what the front is showing us right now. We're coming up on 6 to go. So I think right now it's Meredith's race to lose unless Kyle Taub gets greedy.
I mean, what would you do? You always say, and I always say, we'd wreck our grandmother to win a race.
Well, that's
you're locked in though. That's the only difference.
Yeah, if I'm locked in, and you know I got one of my teammates in front of me that I can push to get him locked in, I push him in. But then again, how scared are you of your teammate coming to Phoenix?
Yeah.
Do you see him as a threat? So, I mean, I don't think any of these guys want Dohar to be in the Final Four. Dohar's won the most races this season. He's had a string of bad luck in his playoffs, and that's what's costed him, you know, a chance to be in the Final Four.
It's not Phoenix, it's Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, we already ran Phoenix, and Dohar won that race.
Okay, so yeah, we go to Kansas.
Meredith would be a threat at Kansas, I would think.
True, but nothing against Meredith. I feel like Dohar has been more consistent, has shown more speed with these next-gen cars. And plus, we all know Dohar knows how to save tires and definitely save fuel. So, I don't know. For Kyle Taub, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I want my teammate to get in. But do I want my teammate that I have to face in those Final Four? Or do I want, say, a Dohar, a Byron Jones, a Jose Ruiz?
Master Killer out there in the chat saying the 16 will hang out the 00, so they're playing chess with checkers.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I mean, I think Kyle will push his teammate, and if the 00 decides to go out, he's gonna fall to the back.
Kyle Taub just said something on the radio, but I couldn't understand what he said. So
they were thanking the 8 for going high.
Oh, okay. All right, so. A benefit, well, no, because the 8 would be 2 laps down. I was going to say the benefit for Pacey is the 8's there, and we know he probably doesn't want any one of these guys to win besides maybe Pacey. So he's going to have to back off the pack as well because he's 2 laps down. He can't battle the lead lap cars, and he can't be battling for position because he's 2 laps down. There's nobody up here that he would be battling for a lucky dog spot because he's 2 laps down. So I'm surprised maybe Papa hasn't yelled at the 8 and said, you got to back off. I know he's at the back of the pack of the group, but you can't help the leaders either because you'd be making passes as you came to the finish line.
I think it's all right where he's at. I mean, yeah,
but he can't move out and help a guy.
No, he can't do that, but he can sit there and ride where he's at. I mean, he's not right now interfering with anything. So I think he's fine where he's at. But we're coming down to 2 to go, Kurt. And stays like this, I think the 17, the 00 are in, and they're going to be joined by the 16 and the 14 going to Kansas for a chance to win turn down for what's next gen series.
And you got the 00 in the turn down for what paint scheme. So I'm sure there's probably some people out there rooting for that 00 whenever we go to the championship race in 2 weeks at Kansas. But I don't know. I mean, the 8 and the 25, technically the 25 is a lap down. He's technically battling the 5 for the last spot. As they come around turn 4, I would think the 25 is not allowed to go to the front at all because it doesn't do anything for him to go to the front, even if he does get up to the 5 or gets into the lucky dog spot, because off of turn 4 there's not going to be a caution anyways. The 8, even though he's riding right there at the back, has become to 1 to go, Shad. Can't help the leaders, so he has to stay back there. He can't do anything. If 25 moves out, 8 can't go with him.
Yeah, this is if a move's going to be made, it's going to be made here. I see Pacey backing off. I see the 16 backing off of the 00. Is this where Pacey tries to get that run and jump him? Problem is he's still going to need help, and I see the 16. He backed off. Now he's coming forward. They need to get this run perfectly timed. You have to be getting it coming out of 4. And I don't see Pacey getting enough, and Kyle isn't really pushing him to do it. Pacey goes high, the 17 blocks. Here comes the 16 down low. He's going to stay with his teammate. They're wrecking. They're wrecking. And it's the 00.
I think the 00 got it.
That wins it.
Whew. Let's go back and take a look at that. That was a close finish. Look at the second group coming too. Luckily for that whole group, they passed the finish line. But yeah, let's take a look here. It looked like Mike York was the first one to pop up on my screen as a crash. So we'll take a look here.
So what I'm seeing is the 00 came down to try to side draft, and the 16 was up a little higher than the bottom groove that everybody else was in, and the 00 clipped the 16's front right bumper, and that spun him into the 17's right rear, and Pacey was able to keep it straight. And
well, this is the final lap as they come through 1 and 2. We'll be able to see where Pacey and the 16 backed it off of the 17 a little bit. You see the 00 backing up to the 16 a little bit. They're going to get a big run going into turn 3 and 4. 16's not close enough to the 00's back bumper. As they come through 3 and 4, Pacey's going to try to swap out 16, gaining on the 00 right there. Through the tri-oval. Oh, am I 1 lap too far? All right, I am. Let me speed this up. I don't know where this thing is, Joe. Alright, let me just go to checker flag. Pacey pretty much stayed straight the whole time. He just got a little bit wobbly, but
he came down to side draft, and I don't think he realized the 16 was as high as he was. And, you know, they obviously touched, and it spun Pacey into the 17s right. We're spinning the 17, and the 00 and 16 were able to keep it somewhat straight. And the obviously Pacey was able to beat the 16 to the line.
Well, we're going to take it to the winning burnout and watch Pacey go around here. We'll be right back and talk to the top 3, which is going to be Pacey, Wygen, Kyle Taub, and Zach Meredith. All right, we are back for KS Gaming's broadcast. Burnout Lane. Top three are going to be in the booth. Shad and I just watched an incredible finish there. There was a lot of action there at the end trying to decipher and figure out who actually won this race. The double zero is going to come away with the win tonight after his burnout there. Pacey, you got a copy, buddy?
Gotcha.
All right, you came out, had decent starting position. You did some, good stuff in the stages. You got second in one of them. Gained some points. You were sitting, I think, or was it third? You were sitting third in the points prior to the start of this race. You knew it was going to be close with all the guys surrounding you. I think there was only like 12 points separating from third all the way back to about eighth in the points. So a lot of guys fighting for one or two positions. If a non-playoff driver would have won tonight, then we would have had two open spots. But you come away with the win tonight. Give us a little breakdown of what happened there coming off of turn 4, and if you have any idea of what you're going to be thinking for Kansas in 2 weeks.
Coming off 4, I was just trying to get the run. I knew there was teammates all around, and it was not going to be easy. I saw Todd backing up, so I was like, all right, I got to back up, try getting the run, and then possibly try blocking. But when Zach ended up coming up the track to take the block, it was a good block, but I just come down to side draft him, and I didn't realize Todd was going to be there half a lane up, and it hooked me into Zach, and I feel really bad about it, but can't do much.
All right, what are you thinking about Kansas coming up in 2 weeks? We've got that 2-week break. You got some time to practice Kansas. Kansas traditionally is that high line. I have seen in iRacing where the non-traditional line that you would think of for certain tracks like Homestead and Kansas, I witnessed the guy run the bottom lane the entire race at Kansas and wound up winning by a pretty good margin. Have you practiced Kansas, and what are your hopes or thoughts on Kansas being the championship race?
You know what? I've been pretty good at the mile and a half this season in the Cup car overall. So I think my chances are pretty good. I don't know. I haven't ran any test sessions there. I told myself I wasn't going to run any unless I got locked into the championship, and guess what? Now I got 2 weeks to run some laps, so I'm going to bring it all I can for Kansas now that I'm locked in.
Well, Shad, Pacey's been a friend or teammate of ours for a very long time. Even on console, we got started in our first league with Pacey, and then we kind of migrated over to NNR. Pacey came over to NNR. I think Pacey had been in NNR prior. What do you have to say to your longtime teammate here?
I mean, obviously, congrats. As we were sitting there talking during the break, felt like you're in on points. I mean, obviously, going for a win is going for a win. Sometimes, it's just as important as locking yourself in. And when you're pretty much locked in on points, obviously, you can take that risk. And unfortunately for Meredith, it's going to cost him his chance at going into that top 4. So I guess my only question is, was how it played out there at the end. Would you do something different now? And then also, how comfortable are you at running, inches from the wall, as that's what it's going to take typically at Kansas to be extremely fast?
Well, to answer that question, I'm a dirt guy, so let's get that wall. But if anything could have gone differently, I probably wouldn't have tried side drafting there. I mean, I was locked in on points as Zach would have been into the Final 4, but me and Zach, we were talking earlier in the week. We were talking about working together throughout the race, and but when it came down to the finish and stages, it was anybody's game. So I went into the mindset of that. I was like, all right, I could just ride here in second and finish second and be a great day, or I could go for the win. I'm sorry, but the way it happened, it's still a win. As much as I don't like to say that, because I did not mean to wreck them, but we all three of us, we were just going for a win. I'm not so sure about Todd, but I know I was. But no, I definitely wouldn't have done it any different. And that this race honestly means a lot because next week on Wednesday is actually the 2-year of my uncle's death, and it means a lot to me, and it's definitely is gonna help me get through there. So I'm sorry to Zach again. I really didn't mean to wreck you. It was truly just side drafting and not realizing that another car was there. But I mean, it's racing.
Well, Pacey, obviously the last race of the section of the playoffs before we go to the championship race. You're now locked into the championship race. You've been a pretty good front runner most of this season. You've been in the points towards the top. You got the win in the regular season. You go now into the playoffs. You get a win here, locks yourself in. There's always those times where people say, you got to get the win. But, I mean, I understand both sides of that. You were locked in probably with points. Meredith would have, if he would have won, he would have been locked in as well. But I know, maybe not in my mindset because I'm too timid, I guess. That's why I'm up in the booth. But I know with some of you guys, when you guys see that checker flag come out, it's balls to the wall. It's go time. It's go for the win. I know that mindset comes through, and you guys just you guys go for it. And I know you probably didn't mean to turn them there or come down on top and then get turned down into the 17. I know it's probably just a racing deal. I know it's got to suck for the 17. I know he's probably down a little bit, but I just I know all of you guys are that close in points that every point probably mattered, but it is what it is with coming for a win. So I can understand that. I can respect the apology as well. But any shout outs for you? I know you did have Ferret Man out there. He actually commented at one point because you had dodged a big wreck there. He actually wrote in there and said, "Holy hell, Pacey almost just died," but somehow you squeaked through there, and then to come home with the win. So any shout outs for you?
Oh yeah, Jimmy. I'll just a shout out to him. He watches every week. My fiance, she watches every single race now. I think I had another buddy watching tonight, but I'm not sure if he was commenting or not. You know who you are, if that is the case. Again, I want to shout out to my uncle. I mean, yeah, he's not with us anymore, but great man. He passed away 2 years ago next Wednesday. He's forever in my heart. Miss him dearly. And this one is definitely going to be for him. I'm actually going to try to get a scheme going in memory of him for Sunday night's truck race at Eldora, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to or not. But definitely shout out to him. He's helped me through a lot of these races, and he'll still continue in the afterlife.
All right. Well, good job on the win. Congratulations on being locked into the Final Four. We'll come back in 2 weeks and see who can take home that championship. You got just as much of a chance as the other three in the field. It is Kansas. It's not that traditional Phoenix. So it'll be some hard racing, some probably big slide jobs. And like I said, I would venture to search around that entire track to find the fastest groove because my experience and from what I've seen in some leagues, the top line is not the preferred line that you would think it is, but it's doable. I've seen some hard racing side by side on that top lane, but I've also seen the bottom lane really be fast. And like I said, I've seen a guy win on the bottom line only, and I believe he won by like 10 seconds. So it's kind of any person could win next week. So good luck, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Sorry, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks, and good luck on that Sunday race, and hopefully you can get that paint scheme. I know there's somebody in here that is a teammate of yours that could possibly come up with a paint scheme for you. So maybe reach out to him and talk to him about it and see what happens.
All right, thank you. Shout out to you both for streaming, and Mike for the league itself. So forgot to do those ones.
All right, well, we're going to talk to second place finisher Kyle Taub, already locked into the championship before we even got to this race here. Came out and had some good finishes in the stages. I think he finished second in the first stage when Zach took that stage. So Kyle Taub coming up into the booth in the 16 tonight. Love the paint scheme. I know you were questioning a little bit earlier about what paint scheme was up on the screen, but that Mountain Dew kind of throwback looking KT design looked really good, and kind of wondering if maybe Dale Jr. was driving that thing at times when I saw you on track. But coming to the finish line there off of 4, what did you see from your perspective since you were involved in that incident with Pacey and Meredith? What did you see out of turn 4 or out of the tribal?
Yeah. I was laying off there the last few laps. I had a blinking issue with somewhere around 15 to go, 10 to go, something like that. I was requested to get out of line and had no issue doing so. But that kind of, to no fault of my own, kind of put me at a bigger disadvantage for having a chance to win it. So at that point, my priority was just helping my teammate and trying to get him locked in. But as we came through the trial over there, I went to fill a space that Pacey had left after the 17 came down, and next thing you know, I'm sliding through the grass.
Shad, any questions for the 16 of Kyle Taub?
Yeah, I guess Kyle. I mean, you've been locked in now the last couple of weeks. I mean, first question is how much less pressure did you feel? Obviously, going into a race like Talladega, which can be a wreck fest, and then also, was it your mindset pretty much the entire night to try to help one of your other teammates get into that Final Four?
I mean, during the stages, the goal was, at least on my end, just to be aggressive and not having that pressure to have to go out and win or point myself in definitely helped. And driving it differently from what I usually do, sitting in the back, being up front, being aggressive, definitely a very fun way to approach it. Definitely had a blast. But yeah, during the stages, at least my goal was to take away stage points from those who weren't my teammates. So I mean, there wasn't really any other goal. I mean, winning the stage would have been nice. Could add it to my stat sheet. The stage 2 win was great. Getting through that wreck was kind of sketchy there. Going, I think it was 4 wide down the backstretch, and then seeing unfold my mirror was definitely wild.
Well, Kyle, with being locked in for so many weeks, I know you said you wanted to be locked in mentally, so you were always, going for the win. You weren't just going to ride around and take it easy, getting prepared for Kansas. Now that Kansas is going to be here in 2 weeks, you got 2 weeks to prepare. What is your thoughts on Kansas in these next-gen cars? It's a little different than you normally would drive it with just the car itself, and then iRacing obviously a little behind on how you drive Kansas as it is. What thoughts or anything do you have going into Kansas?
I mean, we had a preseason race there a few months ago. That might not be the greatest indicator, but it is something I could go off of. And during that race, I was possibly the best car the entire time. But if we go off of that, it's looking like I've got a good shot, but who knows? It's been, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe even 5 months since it happened.
All right. Well, any shout-outs for you, anything like that?
Yeah, just a shout out to my boys at the militia group. It sucked that we couldn't get another one locked in tonight, but their support next week will be greatly appreciated. Also, shout out to my boys Kenny and Xander for tuning in and watching tonight, giving some extra support. And then shout out to you, Kurt, and you, Shad, for this broadcast.
All right, well, that's our second place finisher, Kyle Taub, in the 16 tonight, locked in going into the championship. We're going to bring up third place finisher, Zach Meredith, in the 17, leading, coming through the tri-oval, gets turned around and winds up finishing third tonight. And he told me on the commercial break there that he doesn't think he's in, but I think it's super close on how many points are actually separated. And actually, I'm going to make the announcement now. And I'm going to do it before I talk to you, Zach, but I know this is probably going to sting a little bit, but Layman just sent me the final points, and it is Kyle Taub locked in, Nate Lehman locked in, Pacey Wygant locked in. Jose Ruiz will be the 4th driver going to the championship by 1 point over Zach Meredith. Zach, do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, just sucks. It's just me and Pacey did talk earlier in the week about working together, um, which is true. I mean, me and him would try to just try to eliminate other people that we knew that would be competitive, um, just by getting runs together throughout the race. And the one thing we didn't talk about was what would happen if it was me and him 1-2 at the end. So, um, I mean, it's a racing deal. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing I can do or that he can do different. Or I do different. I mean, a win's a win. Just like how he said it, a win's a win. I do the same thing, and me and him agreed that coming to the stage wins or coming to the actual race win, it is what it is. But we never thought about if he was going to be locked in on points, would he stay behind me or not? So we never talked about that or anything. So I don't blame him trying to go for the win. It's racing. You always want to win. You don't want to just run around in second, especially since we're not teammates. We're good friends, but we're not teammates. But it is what it is. If I could have done something different, if anything, just would have tried. I would have just wished that the stage 2 was different. I just wish there was a green white checkered for it instead of just ending it 2 laps early. I don't get that, but it is what it is. But not much I can really change in this. But
Well, I've got the standings pulled up right now as they're coming across, and that way everybody else can see it here. I know that 1 point's got to be a stinger, being that close, only being 100 feet short of the finish line. But I mean, you had a great season. You got the 2 wins, almost a third tonight. You got into the playoffs. You were obviously this close to the finish line to getting into that next round. I'm hoping you'll be coming out for Kansas because I feel like, in my opinion, you'd be my pick right off the bat for Kansas. I just feel like you're one of the faster guys in those situations at those type of tracks. The only thing I have a question for is the fuel, which there's several guys in this field that are very good at saving fuel, except we took that out of the picture by jumping it up to 100% fuel. So really it just comes down to tires. And being able to drive Kansas. And I know your style of driving is a little more aggressive than most, and it puts yourself in good position, but it also puts yourself in maybe some questionable decisions, but you usually come out on the right side of it. Tonight, however, nothing on your end. You didn't do anything there, but you come out on the wrong side of it. Still a fantastic season. Like I said, I mean, 2 wins, one of only like 4 guys that had multiple wins this season. Even, I mean, Kyle, your teammate there, did not have a win in the regular season. So, I mean, there's so many different things to look positive for this season. So, definitely hold your head high on this. I know it's got to burn a little bit. I've never been this close to a championship, so I can't even compare it in my head because I've just never been even close to it. So, but I know, Shad, you've been there. You've been close to getting a championship. Any words of wisdom for Zach or any questions for Zach on this?
I mean, it was a great season, obviously, for you, Zach. I mean, to win multiple races in a league that's filled with this kind of talent says one thing about your driving ability. And just to miss it by 1 point, I know you're going to go back and be like, where could I have found 1 or 2 points over the last few races? And it's obviously it sucks, but the good thing is there's always next season, and obviously, um, you know, 1 point is all you need to get better for next season, and you'll be in the final 4 for next season. So, yeah, it's definitely a bummer. I feel for you to be that close, but once again, it was a hell of a season for you, and congrats on that. And I would have a question for you, but you pretty much were making all the right moves the whole night. You hung back and just stay in the draft when you needed to, during that first run during the final stage. And Obviously, during the first two stages, we're making great moves, and your teammates were all working together nicely. And I guess my only question to you is, looking back through this season, I guess what's the one thing you can take away from it that hopefully you can carry on for the next season?
If I could change anything different from this whole season, how I've done this season is to be up front more early part in the race. I did not get stage points until I think Kentucky. The, Before that, I had no stage points. I had no stage points at Daytona or Atlanta or I finished second at Daytona and won Atlanta, but I still didn't have any stage points to add on to it. Everyone knows I'm not the best qualifier, so I definitely didn't really do much to help myself on that one, winning poles or anything. But just have to be more consistent up front early in the part of the race because it's stage racing. But it is what it is. I mean, I'll just take it with a grain of salt. Just glad I had a good year, won some races. Just had to limit mistakes. Just that's just it. You just have to limit mistakes. But race overall for me, I mean, I had fun racing with everybody. I'm glad it was mainly caution free for the most part. I mean, I don't think we had an actual caution, did we? It was just the stages, right? Besides that, I mean, props to Pacey. Pacey, he won the race. It was a good move. I would have done the same thing. Not much besides that. Just look forward to next year and hopefully I'll make a decent schedule like I did this year. So, but that stage two. I really wish I just didn't get turned by McCall. Man, I would have had fourth place on that, and I went from fourth to 18th or something stupid getting turned. But I don't know if that'll be under review or not. But I doubt it. But it is what it is. It was a good race, so props to you guys. It was a great team effort by my boys. Shout out to Pacey for racing me clean and my boys clean and everything like that. It was a good finish. It was a fun finish, fun race, and I'll look forward to going back and watching it from you guys' perspective. So thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and whatnot for us every week.
Well, Zach, we definitely appreciate you, and like I said, a fantastic season. You still got next week and come out and steal a win from these guys that are going for the championship and make them earn it. If you show up next week, I'm pretty sure I'm picking you for the race. There might be a couple others that I might be looking at hard depending on practice, but yeah, I feel for you. I think it's something to look forward to next season. Like you said, you've got little things that you could improve on to put yourself in maybe a little bit better position going into the playoffs, things like that could be done. You've been really close several times to getting more wins. So I would definitely hold your head high on this, and you always have the Bills to root for and try to get a Super Bowl. So definitely I'll be pulling for them as well since my team sucks. Can't do anything with two crap quarterbacks right now, or one's a rookie. But yeah, I feel for you, and I hope we'll see you back next season, and I'm sure we'll see you in a championship next season.
And real quick, go Bills. Hopefully we beat the Packers. Sorry, Peach, because I know Peach is a Packers fan, and that's gonna be my birthday gift because my birthday's on Sunday. So I hope they win. So sorry, Peach.
Happy early birthday. I mean,
thanks.
If the Packers are losing to the Jets, you can probably beat them. So
yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, I made a post a couple years ago about Dallas losing to the Jets. So or the Adam Sandler Big Daddy post. With the kids saying, "Goddamn Jets," but yeah, I think, like I said, you got a really good shot to come back next season. It's really stacked field. You guys, I mean, to finish 1 point back is incredible, especially how many points you were before last week's race. With having several races where you just had little incidents. I think you spun 5 times at one track. So to be missing it at 1 point, I think is, huh?
I see right there. That's one thing I gotta clean up. I mean, I wrecked 3 times at Phoenix. So
Yeah, so I mean, you got to fix those up, and I mean, you wrecked an Indy, getting loose or whatever. So I mean, there's several little things you could do, but to still be right there at the end is incredible. So good job, and I guess we'll catch everybody in 2 weeks. We'll come back for the Kansas finale. I apologize for the 2 week break, but I am taking a family road trip myself across country, and we'll do a big giant circle from North Carolina all the way to Colorado, down to New Mexico, and back to North Carolina. And I'll be back probably not driving anything after this 2 week trip for a while. But I will be sitting here watching these 4 drivers battle it out for the championship. Like I said, these 4 drivers, it is going to come down to Kyle Taub, who is your regular season champion, first driver to lock into the championship race. Nate Lehman, who was pretty much around 8 to 12 most of the season, started out at the bottom before last week's win at Indy. Pacey, who gets his win tonight. Jose Ruiz, who's been got his win and has been right there towards the front a lot of these races as well. It's going to come down to just whoever can finish in front of each other next week, and we'll see who can come away with it. Thank you, Shad, for being in the booth. It's been a great broadcast. Looking forward to more broadcasts with you. Any final words from you, Shad?
No, I mean that's the one crazy thing about putting Talladega is that final race is you never know what you're gonna get. So I look forward to going to Kansas. Um, I feel like the high line's gonna prevail there. The bottom, I think can work for a couple laps, but then you just really start burning tires down there. But I guess we'll figure out. These guys always seem to figure something different out. And then iRacing, always seems to throw in a wrench when they do an update. So it may have changed since the last time that I've been on that track. So I'm excited to watch the 4 guys, compete and see who can maybe win the race and win the championship, or who can win it on where they finish in the final race, and have one of these guys that got knocked out maybe win in it, and then we can see dual burnout. So yeah, it's been a heck of a season. And it's all coming down to Kansas in 2 weeks. So hopefully a lot of people tune in for that, because I'm sure it's going to be a great show, and hopefully we have a good turnout with drivers, and we can push on for things to come for next season.
All right, well, we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. And please come out and watch that final race. It's going to be an incredible race at Kansas. I'm excited that Kansas is the championship race, so thank you for putting that for the final race. Phoenix would have not been a fun race, in my opinion, for the championship race, as I never think it is. But we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks, and good luck to everybody, and we'll see everybody later.